StreamYard.
Hey, everybody in the chat, switch your tab to live comments so you can see people.
Yep.
Oh, live comments.
Yes, and we are live. We are live.
Hey, so this right here, this link up top, I can just share that link, right?
Yep, you should be. No, that will get people in here.
Oh shit!
If you go to the
everybody, check this shit out.
Yeah. If you go into the Facebook, then the Midwest Action Media, we're at. Yep, Anthony is back in. Wow.
All right, Anthony Jackson, how we doing?
Wait,
Brad, you want to start it off?
Yep.
Let Brad.
Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. This is Paintball Therapy with another fantastic group of people who need no introduction, but we'll do it anyways. We have Yaya, Ronnie, Ryne, and Mikey from New Parking. Free parking, and then Josh. But Josh, you have a special place in these guys' hearts, so everyone say hello.
Hello.
Yo, what up?
Hello.
What you doing?
Let's do this.
Me, Josh, and Mikey all play for D4 Blast Camp.
Fantastic. See, another layer there. Why don't we go right into it, Ryne? Because you're the one who orchestrated this. Walk us through why we're here and what this fantastic group of people are doing.
Basically, I guess to take it back a little bit, I started off in Texas. This is where I grew up playing. First time I played paintball was in 1997 at a field called Crossfire Paintball outside of San Antonio, Texas, and it just kind of went from there. But the one thing when I came to the Midwest that I noticed that was different about Texas is that pickup paintball didn't exist. And what I mean by that is there wasn't like 12 random kids that would just show up on a Saturday and make a throw together team and play. Like, if you want to come and run points, you better have a 5-man squad or you're going to be lucky to get on the field. I mean, one or two guys might, you might have one or two guys that get lucky and a squad or two short a guy and they'll pick them up. But for the most part, the attitude is I'm here with my line to grind with my line and I ain't got room for you. So watch, and hopefully there's 4 or 5 more kids that show up. If not, you're just going to be watching us all day. And, and when I first showed up, here's a big guy. I'm like 340 pounds. Nobody really wants to pick the 340-pound guy to get on their line until they see what old big boy can do. And then most people don't have a problem putting me on their lines. But I found Mikey and some other kids to play with, and then I noticed no one had anybody teaching them. There was no guy at the field that was taking time to really help them. It was just players yelling at players that they effed up and they didn't do their job. And I'm guilty of this, and all my players are guilty of this. I mean, everything I'm preaching, I'm guilty of. But I found I saw a way, or I found a way that I think fixed it, and that was by teaming up with both Ronnie Dizon and Chad Yaya to help them grow the same area that they love in paintball. And like I tell them, it's let's bring paintball fit to the Midwest. Let's make the paintball fit of the Midwest. I don't care if you play for free parking. I don't care if you play for the Chicago Bandits. I don't care if you play for Slaughterhouse. I don't care what team, if it's Faction, if it's whoever. There's tons of teams in the Midwest, but none of us seem to really work together. We all work against each other. There's not this conglomerate collection where just 20 teams are meeting up in one place to just grind it out and help everybody to get ready. It's everybody's in it for themselves. Everybody's trying to chase that D4 glory on their own, or whatever it might be in the level that we are in. And it's every D4 player thinks that they should be treated like a D1 player or a pro even. It's entitlement. It's all this you see in it. And free parking is basically just, it's an organization where we're aiming to fix that just by bringing people together as a mass and give them the ability. If you need someone to play with, I got 25 guys on Saturday. You got someone to play with.
Yeah.
And there's no bitching about who you're playing with. Yeah. I don't care if you like them or not. As long as they're not a toxic person and there to bring negativity, they're going to play. I mean, and it's a challenge. It's hard. One of the hardest things is recently making lines for events, because last season we had one line. Towards the end of the season we had two lines. Maybe it was easy. Now we have 3-4 lines. We just rostered 3 lines in the NXPL, but it's, I believe, going to get canceled because of all this craziness. And it's at a point where people are fighting because they want to play with people.
Yeah.
And it's still we're at the stage where we're trying to teach these players, look, I'm not going to put you with who you think you should play with. I'm going to put you with who I think is going to play the best together. Because there's been other programs that have taken players like this, and then what they do is they split their talent up wrong, and then the program never goes anywhere. They never win. So, like within free parking, we have layers. Some people, we have a line we've called the Claws, but we removed the name when we rebranded recently to HK. And officially, the Claws and the Bane Train are the only people who have ever won anything with free parking in 1 year, but they have a lot of fun.
Choo choo.
Choo choo, exactly.
But I mean, ultimately, I guess I should say is our whole goal is just to give anybody in the Midwest a place to play paintball, to give you the same experience you would have with a big field backing you without being on a big field team is the ultimate goal, I guess. I have 2 of the best paintball players in the world that come out once a month to try to help teach, grow players. And like we have Joshua Bloodworth, or who we all call Squish here, is one of our players to attest to that. And we have 2 more that we'll bring on. And they all say the biggest thing's always been having grow. And I've watched myself, Mikey, and all of our guys grow tremendously since we've started working with Dizon before Cup. We worked with Dizon for the first time. Him and Varga came out and helped our line that we sent to Cup, and we had never podiumed an event all year. We ended up making Sunday at Cup in 5-man, and then we ended up coming in 3rd place in 3-man, which was pretty cool for us. I mean, for your first podium as an organization, even with it being in 3-man, to be able to do it on the largest podium of the year, World Cup, with over 600 teams. I mean, we literally played 3-man from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. It was dark out for our last point. Like, they were turning on stadium lights on the generators to try to keep the fields lit. Like, it was crazy. And it was probably one of the greatest times of my life. I'm going to let Mikey talk a little about that because he played. He's there.
I mean,
Mikey's like
it's crazy. I mean,
all this.
We didn't have enough time to even change lenses. Like we had to play with smoked lenses, and we're playing for 3rd against a team that's in all black jerseys, and we're rocking these pure white jerseys. I mean, and the bunkers are black. So
I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So our points out there, we were
wait, you guys had all white jerseys?
Yep.
Yeah, our
because we were like
white.
we were like trolling the white claws, so our jerseys look like white claw cans.
Yeah.
And so we just went out there shooting our lanes that we've been shooting all day, and we've ripped these guys off break like it was nobody's business. And
you beat their ass.
Oh yeah, even after
you
they
can say it. You can say you beat their ass.
Dude. Oh man, dude,
we
they wiped that first point.
To be a fist fight.
Yeah, dude, we beat them the first point. No, the hands down. Second point, dude wiped, rang the buzzer, and then like hit it from the refs, and the refs didn't.
I heard Ryne wiped a face hit off the break.
I heard Ryne had to run because he kept wiping face hits.
Well, I only wipe face hits against E. Jackson Frey just to show him like I'm so fast at coming back in. I'll get him. He won't even see it.
Hang on. Let's take this back for a second. Let's tell him why everybody has to run when they're at the clinic.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so if you
wait, let's get Squish to answer this because Squish had to run a lot.
Oh, he played with Edmund, didn't he?
No, he was against Edmund.
I was against him.
Yeah, he was watching him. But tell us, Squish. Tell us what it is.
Yeah, so if you get caught cheating, you have to stand in the middle of the field, and your team runs around you.
Your line that you're on has to run.
Yeah.
3 laps.
Oh.
Well, it depends on the severity of the penalty.
Yeah, it depends if you wipe it or if you like didn't mean to cheat, but it would have been a penalty type of shit.
Yeah.
But if you don't get caught cheating and then you admit to it, then you have to run a lap, I guess.
First of all, you ride and die by the lie, so that you learn something there. Number
I
2
was
is
trying to let my boy
who the
know that
fuck
his
tells
shot was
anybody
on.
that they
Denied.
wiped the
His shot
pit?
was on.
At least with us still present. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you
I'm
guys are
sitting-
making you run for cheating, and you're
Listen,
telling
hold on.
them.
I'm sitting here thinking that the guys I had shoot the right lanes to shoot you off the break didn't shoot you. And here we go with him saying, "Oh, hey, by the way, I cheated that entire point." It's like, okay, well, let's throw this
He
whole game
yells it
plan out
across
the
the
window.
field.
Out the window.
I looked at Ronnie like I was astonished. He yells at, "Hey, just so you know, Jackson, I wiped the goggle hit." I'm like, look at Ronnie. I'm like, what? What just happened?
I feel like if you can wipe a goggle hit off a pair of EBSs, that's impressive. Like, it was low key a flex. I was kind of flexing on.
Oh, because the goggles are
I
so
was
big, so
flexing
you
on
could just.
semi-pro.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, and then I came back out, snapped him, and was like, get him out.
Did you hear that,
And
Jackson?
He got out.
Suck it,
You can
Jackson.
call it out, bro.
Jackson, he didn't even have anything to say. He's like, thanks. And I was like, what? I was like,
That's so good. It's awesome. Hey, what's in your red solo cup? Someone was asking. Cody Chan.
it is vodka and Red Bull.
Ooh, you're gonna be up all night.
Yep.
We'll be up all
No,
night.
he
Yeah, I gotta
won't.
scream. I was up till about
This man, I've roomed with this guy and I've traveled the world with him. This man can hit his head on a pillow just ever so lightly, and he can be out cold. Out cold. He can drink 5 Bang energy drinks and fall asleep right afterwards. I don't get it.
Nuts.
I don't understand.
DK. That's
yeah,
DK.
I probably have diabetes. or
Unless
something.
it's
I
too
don't fucking know.
cold.
So
DK be falling asleep
Ryne,
sitting straight up against the headboard.
He slept the whole way to Florida and the whole way back. He did not move.
I did that when we had to drive to Miami for a 7-man event.
All right, Brad.
Yeah, I
what were you
won't
saying?
drive the cup again. We're definitely flying.
yes, Ryan, why don't you tie it all together and say how you got involved with Yaya and Ronnie and with these clinics, which are benefiting so many people, and why we're here?
So I guess how to do this without teaching, man. Basically, it's Sunday, like you don't see anybody teaching anybody unless
So here's how it happened.
I'm
Here's how it happened, in my opinion. I was
There
actually
you
doing
go.
drills with Vaz. He's a semi-pro player on Blast Camp. Him and I were doing drills. Mikey and him were doing drills at the same field at Blast
and we
Camp.
challenged him to 2-on-2s.
Well, they challenged us to 2-on-2s. We had to wipe our asses with them, right? And then from then on,
Shout out,
they
Vaz.
approached.
Biggest fan.
But for real, from then on, they approached me and they were just asking, like, "Hey, what would it take to, get you out here helping the guys?" Because I was new to Blast Camp. That was probably the 3rd time I've ever been to Blast Camp, and this is when I met them. And I instantly when I started working with them, I saw potential in both Mikey, both Ryne, and all the guys on the team. And I'm like, listen, with how Midwest Paintball kind of is going right now, there was a lot of lack of tournament scene and tournament breeding of players in this area. And just talking to them and seeing them grow and wanting to be better, it just inspired me to help and put a lot of effort into them. And then me getting Barga out and Yaya out and other pro players to help and really, just like, for example, Mikey and Squish, Joshua right here, these 2 guys are going to be the next big thing if they keep practicing and keep applying the things that we teach them. And in my opinion, I just think the biggest thing was just being at the same field at the same time, the right place at the right time, and networking properly. I mean, they didn't come off super like, "Hey, fucking help us." They were just like, "Hey," they were nice about it. And that's some advice for anybody out there. If you want help from somebody, don't come at them like you're trying to like take and leech from them, man. Just really be nice and really, learn how to communicate and network.
It definitely goes to a respect thing.
Yeah.
Where, I respect you, all of you, because you don't have to do this. Some pros get to a spot where they grind and they have little time left to give to anyone except for their family, and even that can bite into it. So you guys are giving back to the community to build up everyone. That's appreciated by everyone, and I just wanted to point that out.
I'll say this also is that. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, and it's almost. If Chad and Ronnie could write in charity time.
Virgil.
Oh man, there's the boss, the Lord, Virgil
Lord,
on
Lord
the mic.
Verge. Lord Verge.
Lord
Thank you.
Virgil.
Lord
I
Verge.
haven't said thank you today, Virgil. Thank you,
I'm gonna call him
Virgil.
Lord Verge from now on. It's on.
That's his
I'm
name
gonna
in the
save you in
chat.
my
you.
phone as
Like,
Lord
he played
Verge.
for last camp. He's the Lord.
Yeah.
He's a Lord.
I mean, he decides when we play and don't play paintball. He's the Lord.
That's true. Continue.
Or COVID
Nope.
does. So
Nice flex with the trophy in the background.
That's like
You
my
bring-
everyday thing.
Yep. It's called a Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. This is
Yeah.
Wednesday.
This is my Wednesday.
see, told you it's better than the green screen. So I mean, like, they should almost be able to write they should get charitable deductions for what they're doing, because so obviously these clinics are not free. Now, I'm not going to discuss what they cost here either, because that's
Right.
just not what this is here for.
Right.
But let's just say it's been made to where Joshua Bloodworth, I believe, has done every single clinic we've put on, and we're at like 7 or 8 now, except for maybe
how
the
old are
one
you?
before Cup.
Squish, how old are you?
15.
He's 15 years old.
Yeah.
He's been able to do every single clinic, and he's shown exponential improvement throughout the entirety.
I just watched Squish,
So-
the last one, shoot 5 dudes in a game, come back and save the game.
Without a paintball gun.
By
With his
Without a
toes.
paintball gun.
With his toes.
You seen the airbender just making them. So, and I mean, and what we've done basically is I've taken a position of I'm basically an organizer, and I make nothing but I make mental relief for this. So I have really bad PTSD. I'm in a pretty lucky situation because I am medically retired from the Army. I don't have to go to work every day. I get a lot of guys you say will say the VA screwed them or the Army screwed them, and I can honestly say that they gave me a fair shake, and I'm happy. Like, I'm watching half of America right now panic over COVID, and I'm just like, man, I'm blessed that my bills are paid. So I can literally focus on paintball and do it for free. And it's better than going to the therapist for me for my PTSD. It keeps my mind so focused off of everything in the past, the demons, the basement, whatever, that basically I approached Ronnie, and we kind of have something in common, and that's that we both love to talk. I mean, we can talk. He'll call me and we'll talk for an hour and a half about a computer, about a video game, about Call of Duty Mobile, about if Paco is getting into too much catnip. I don't know. Like, it's just, we'll just talk. He'll be at the gym. Like, he's bored running. Like, first time he called me, he's running a little heavy, and I'm like, see this man call me doing what I think he's on the treadmill. Okay, good.
You thought he was beating his meat?
We're good.
His
I wasn't
webcam.
sure at first,
His
you know.
webcam. He's got his webcam.
But
The webcam, the top one.
I approached Ronnie, and his passion is. I couldn't say, like, you could just see that he loved watching work with us, and it was always really affordable. And I basically said, hey, let's do this monthly or bi-monthly, and I'll organize it all, and I'll be completely transparent with you, show you everything I'm saying on your behalf, and you'll see every dollar that's being collected, and it's all going to you. The only thing I get out of the clinic is I attend them for free. I don't pay a portion to do it, but all the money goes to getting Yaya to drive 2.5 hours up from Indianapolis and getting Dizon out of bed and finding his car in Chicago and getting through the traffic to get to us. It compensates their time and their travel. And the great thing about it is they're getting to work with the same guys over and over and over again. Versus when they go to California, and it's awesome when they get to go to California and put on a 1-day or 1 weekend clinic at a place, but you learn a little bit what these guys have to offer. Like, you learn like a little manila envelope. You got a little priority mail package from them, but like with what we're doing, man, it's Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this also on top of that, what Ryan's saying. When you go to a clinic for 2 days, or say you go to Hawaii and you do a clinic, it's sweet because you get to meet the pro and, you get to talk to him and get a little bit of knowledge. But how you guys are coming out consistently and getting the experience and getting the knowledge and picking our brains every time, that's what is going to make you grow in the sport. And that's how we're helping everybody grow. And that's how you're going to become a better player. We get it that you're going to come one time and, it's going to be a great experience for you. It's going to be fun, hopefully. But it's hard to take everything in. But then the consistency of going more and more and more. It's just like it's the best thing you could do.
100%. It's my teammate said it the best, and to build off what Yaya said, my teammate Sam Monville said it's learning an instrument, right? You're not going to go to one, music session and learn how to play, Beethoven's symphony, right? But if you go consistently and you get to work with the same person who knows what your strengths and weaknesses are, that's going to exploit if you're going to be better or if you're going to be worse, right? Because Squish can come to this clinic, Mikey can come to this clinic, Brad, you can come to a clinic, and you go one time, you're going to just know that thing, you'll forget it. But if I'm there, 3 weekends out of the month, and you're there 3 weekends out of the month, and I know exactly what you know, then it's going to ingrain, right? And in the clinics, I say this analogy, and I'm going to keep saying it. It's like a filing cabinet, right? Literally, the only difference between Yaya and myself is our filing cabinets are bigger, like skyrockets bigger than, Squish's filing cabinet. And that's the references that we have from all the situations and gameplay that we played. So if we get into a scenario, it's like, hey, it's the same exact scenario as this, just a different field layout. This is how you win it. For Squish, it's like, okay, that might be new for him that he can just store in later, and then it just keeps growing and growing. And next thing you know, he has all these experiences where he can build off of it. And when he gets into a situation in a tournament, boom, he's ready.
And
so
I'll say this also on top of what Ronnie's saying. Sorry to cut you out there, Ron. Oliver Lang's had it written on his wall. Hesitation doesn't win tournaments. When you get this experience and you learn, like, it literally, like, he's right. Hesitation doesn't win tournaments. You learn how not to hesitate. You hear where a guy's at, you know exactly what he's doing because of the things that we're teaching you. But I mean, that's just what it comes down to is like hesitation doesn't win. And with the knowledge that we're giving people, they don't hesitate. They react.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's one of those great facilitations with the Midwest, where all of this has come together recently, and me coming into the market, seeing what everybody has to offer and what has been started at that ground level is what will build success for the future.
100%.
And that's where I was fascinated with this and need to know everything about it, because we're all in this together.
100%.
And just to be clear, you don't have to pay for free parking to come to these clinics. These clinics we limit it to number of people to attend because obviously, Yaya and Ronnie can only teach so many people in a certain time slot to be effective, but you don't have to actually play for us to come. In fact, we've had Slaughterhouse, a team called Slaughterhouse, come out as a whole team, and even their coach comes out, and their coach is following Ronnie and Chad. So coaches are learning from the pros while their players are learning. We have a guy who plays for the Chicago Outlaws, or the Wild Cards, I'm sorry, who's going to come on later, and several other teams. So anybody in the Midwest who wants to just, if I could ask for anything of someone who wanted to do these clinics, make sure I prefer people who want to do several of them in a row. Like, I want someone who wants to do 6 or 7 clinics, not one. And that's the upside, that the cost of these clinics are a case of paint. It's on par with what a case of paint costs you. And to get to do that once a month for 5 months straight, like, I think all of the guys in the off season, what were we doing? 2 a month, sometimes 3 a month, because everybody's schedules were free.
Mm-hmm.
And just people were just Mikey, DK, Squish, Eli, all the different people, Big Cy, Jake, Matt, Scott, Julio, there's the list of, there's almost 30 guys who I'd say 80% of them have done at least 4 to 5 or more clinics. And I've seen these guys since they first started picking up a paintball gun with me a year ago. And I have knowledge to teach, but I can't teach them nowhere near like these guys can. And you know what? I could tell them the same thing that Ronnie tells them, but it's going to be 10 times more effective.
It doesn't hit the same. Yeah, it doesn't hit the same.
I don't have the pedigree.
So to build off this, Joshua, since you're ever so loud here, I
just learned his name was Josh.
What's your experience with these clinics, and what have they taught you?
It's since I've been going, I've just been kind of getting better. And it's more so like for me, it's like the game knowledge, like the in-game situations, like with you said, like the filing cabinet. Like after like a point or something, you or Chad will like talk to me and like say like what you would have done in the situation to kind of like, for example, like if I bunker someone, like how to stay alive after bunkering them, so I can kind of keep playing. So it's kind of like that game knowledge that keeps building.
Cool, awesome. Thank you for that.
And it's those fine details where which differentiate a lot between just an unorganized haphazard practice and the actual investment that you guys have with the players.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, we see him more often than what people would see us more than like one time, and we're able to work with them, which is nice because then we understand their strengths and we understand like, okay, we know this kid loves to play the snake, but he's fast, so let's put him in the Doritos on his feet and let's see how fast he can go down the Doritos. And a lot of people don't realize that, like, yeah, you have a little fast kid that can go the snake, but like a lot of people don't realize about like Konstantin Fedorov. Everybody thought he was like just snake, and then all of a sudden Jason Chosen puts him in the Doritos. We win a World Series title and the fucking World Cup along with 3 out of the 5 events that year because he was so good in the Doritos. And it's like that's the kind of stuff that we're able to pick up on and see that other people don't understand because they're so caught up in the niche of understanding like or just wanting to play their strength that hey, there's other strengths that you have. We just have to figure out like where it is.
100%.
Absolutely. There's those situational things where we were discussing, before we started live, where you have to have flexibility and be able to play at that top level. You need to be able to play every position.
Yeah.
You don't want to just be a specialist. You need to have a full toolbox of skill.
Yeah, 100%.
And
yeah. All right, Ryne.
Yeah. And that's the thing now, Ryne, that you have personal involvement, personal investment. And the other thing that's great is that you have the ability for multiple teams, these people to go on different paths, whatever path they want. If they want it super serious, there's one way. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that, please.
So yeah, I mean, we have a team that goes to World Cup, played in Vegas. We'll play Chicago, maybe Virginia if it's happening. I hope Virginia is happening. We were going to do Texas, but then we have teams that might play the winter 3-man at O'Hare or the summer 5-man at Blast Camp, the local Napa ran by Chris Blackburn, and then we have lines that also play Lone Wolf's NXPL series, and we're looking at putting in X-Ball line for D5 and D4 X-Ball and MPPL at least once or twice this year. And then we have guys that just don't even play events. They just need a group of guys to play with on Sunday to blow off the steam. It's their form of golf or going to the bar and having a couple beers. I mean, it's what resets them at the weekend, and that's the other side we offer. You don't have to play tournaments, but yet we can aid you like a tournament team. I mean, if you need gear, we have avenues to help you get gear at a more affordable. If you need help with practice paint, we order paint as a team in bulk, which makes it more affordable as each team player. And these are for the guys who want to eventually go be pro, or these are for the guys who just want to shoot their buddy on Sunday and not go past that. We don't discriminate against either of the or because it's truly growing the sport. It's not my self-interest. It's not Mikey's self-interest or Ronnie's self-interest. It's what's the best interest for my local field, and what's the best interest for the sport in itself, and that's to have the most bodies on the field at a time. Plain and simple. Yeah. It's not for my team to win the most trophies. It's not for Blast Camp to sell the most cases of paint, and it's not for PB Explosion to have the largest big game. The simple answer to the question of growing the sport is to have as many bodies on the field every weekend as possible. And everybody needs to make a profit to survive. But there's this gap where there's these players that just can't afford to play every weekend because they don't have big team backing. So to have a club, I mean, we're a team and a club, I guess, if you want to phrase it like that, to where I can give you the same thing a big team can give you. Yeah. But you don't have to have the big team commitment. I mean, it's the best of both worlds in my idea, and out of pure passion for growing the sport. I mean, I know that people locally and regionally get frustrated with some of the things I do to help grow my program, because it's this weird balance between field owners and players. You need to make sure your field's making money, but you need to make sure your players can afford to play. And it's always been like this. And right now, I mean, it's one of the cheapest times I've ultimately seen paintball, to be honest. I mean, our local field blast camp, $55 entry, then $45 a case after that. That's a pretty good deal. When I was a kid, I think it was $75, $80 for a case of like Evil or Martelizer.
Paint was $90 a case when I started playing.
Yeah, same for me.
Yeah, I mean, and that's back when I think Diablo Blaze or whatever happened to Diablo Paint. Anyways, sorry, different story. But it's basically for me, it's just, this is a hobby passion project that's growing into something much larger than I ever saw it would, faster than it would. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the goal is to grow the sport, and growing the sport's growing the knowledge. It's growing the number of people that can play, and it's growing the number of times you can play a year. It's more than just one clinic or one day.
Ryne, I think what you're doing right now with these kids and taking anybody and everybody in is such a positive thing, because like you said, it's giving people a place to go. It's giving people a place to play. It's giving them a team. There's guys that have come from programs that were with organized programs that had backing, but they didn't enjoy it like they enjoy your program, because you guys aren't like discriminating anybody as far as like cutting them down. You're out there. Everybody's trying to learn. You're trying to grow, and it's a great thing. And that's why it's great. Like with us being out there with you guys, it's great because you don't see, like when I was a kid, it was hate, and it was fighting. My first aftershock practice was Blake Pruitt and another guy on the team fist fighting in the middle of a game. And I mean, I'm all about the fight, but that was like my first practice with aftershock ever, was these two fighting on the field. And that's not even heard of now. If you flip a dude off, he cries, but yeah.
So I got a question. What's this? Okay, we talked about this last podcast with there. Yeah. What's this whole stigma about making paintball violent again? Like, as if like those days were are the glory days, and that's like how it should go back to. Like
people say that shit, but they don't understand it.
Like I don't really think truly.
Bubble gum.
Most of the people I've ever heard say make paintball violent again never even played during the uncapped semi boards or the.
That's what I'm saying.
It's more of a look.
Why do people want to go back to that? Is my question. Why do people want to go back to people fist fighting in a parking lot and during a game? And that's my question of if you want to grow the sport, do you really want it to look in that light? I don't know. That's my question.
I personally think it's more of a look. It's more of a looking ag, right? That's the term everyone uses.
In what way though? Like I want to elaborate on that.
To be tough on the internet? Is that what you mean?
I mean, you could be tough on the internet, but that's not going to mean you're tough at the field. I mean, you got to back it with some play, don't you? I mean, you can have all the nice gear, all the newest stuff, but if you can't play, you're not going to be ag.
I'm gonna say, you're exactly right there, Mikey. You're right. I'll say this: New York Extreme has talented players. PK's talented. They have Little Will from the Midwest, and these guys are over here dumping their loaders out and running around, barking and talking shit. And I get it; it's funny and entertaining, but yeah. We win championships. We don't worry about fucking talking. So that's just, I mean, and I love New York Extreme. I think they're hilarious. I like their owner. I like what they got going on. But at the same time, that's just an example of like nobody really, and I get it. Like that's what they do on the East Coast. And they have talented players. If they just focused on just the game, then they could probably see themselves in a finals sooner than later, just because of the fact that like they're so focused on just winning.
Yeah.
So I have a thought to propose for you on that note, on saying that actually. So think about this like wrestling, like WWE, WWF, the entertainment of it. A sport so large that it openly admitted that it was fake and maintained its following. Like, do you not think that the New York Extreme attitude maybe brings views to Go
100%.
Sports? Like, because I think with paintball, it's incredibly hard to follow paintball if you don't understand it.
Yes.
Like, the bridge is like Go Sports needs to like have like a little like you know when you're playing Call of Duty, how you have the little map in the corner? Go Sports needs to have a little map in the corner that has all the bunkers and then has like where the guys are located in the bunkers and dots, and like maybe an arrow on which side of the bunker they're shooting out of. They need to bridge the gap for the viewers to understand it that don't understand the sport. So at this moment, I think having people like New York Extreme and that attitude, you definitely don't want everybody to have that. And there's a fine balance. Like you don't want to be full on like
I don't have a problem.
1990s.
I don't have a problem with New York Extreme doing what they do.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love those guys, and I think it's entertaining.
And I don't know if that was the most. I don't think that's like the same bridge of like people fighting at a field and the New York Extreme just taunting, because that's good entertainment and that's awesome on their part.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about, right? Well, what I'm talking about is going back to, and somebody just commented, 15 balls a second, Lasoya assassination, attitude. Back then, people were intimidated about playing other teams. I fully get that, and I fully understand that. But at any time, I don't think at least personally me, I don't think I've been at the field and I'm like, I want to intentionally hurt this person and make them bleed and like make sure that like I beat the shit out of them if they beat us or something like that, where it's like I'm going like the hate attitude. But
you're also one of the nicest people I've ever met.
Right,
I try to put people down when I enter that field. If I get in I try to hurt them.
100% on the field, I'm about that. But I'm saying off the field, that attitude of like, dude, like the crazy shit where people would like you said, do those things off the field. It's just odd to me, I guess. I don't know.
To be honest, on the field, even then, it's not even about me. I'm more angry if you're like going after Squish or Mikey. Like if you're flapping at them, like I'm the back center man. I'm there to beat your ass down. Like that's what it is on the field. Now, when we step off the field, we're cool. Like whatever, we're good. I don't need to carry it on past the field. I don't have anything personal outside of the field, but I think the make paintball violent again is a good slogan that sells. It's a catchphrase, but I think 90% of the people that scream make paintball violent again never played during the era they refer to.
Agreed.
And honestly, they're the same kids that fucking will complain about getting shot 5 times, 6 times, or
that's what I'm saying.
Complain
you
about
can't complain.
Like I remember, so I used to.
If anybody ever complains about getting overshot, I mean, it's
exactly that excludes you from the make paintball violent again movement. If you ever complained about getting overshot, that excludes you. Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely times where I've been shot so much, like I want to pull my gun up and be like, "Motherfucker, shoot me again," and I'm gonna unload. But then I just walk off the field. It's like this frustration, like I'm starting to get shot. But I'm talking about this is back in the day, like. Because in 2010, I was stationed at Fort Hood, and I just came back from Afghanistan, and I made friends with the guy who worked at X Factor, like their head ref. And so I used to sleep at the field on the weekends instead of staying at the barracks on the base. And I used to ref on Saturdays to get a play on Sundays for free. And every once in a while, I'd get to actually go play just as one of the throw together teams that X Factor was there to smash that day because they didn't have a regular practice. And I think 8 times out of 10, I wouldn't make it to my bunker because this was 12.5.
Yeah.
So for my standpoint, I'm cool with 10.5 because my big ass makes it to the bunker at 10.5. At 12.5, I'm probably not making it past home.
All right, so let's go to Devin.
So I'm just being realistic.
Devin Pade in the live comments is actually bringing up some good points. Paintball needs to follow the fight model, create feuds, rivalries, and some sort of what's to happen. Make people care again. The format watching on Go Sports is sleep-inducing. In person, it's obviously entertaining. How would you guys spice up the format? How would you make the format more exciting for the player?
In person or like just watching it?
Both.
I think if there is more like...
I'm going to get my refill and I'm going to answer this question. But you guys answer
for
first.
me. I think it's Matty Marshall. You know how like Matty Marshall does the 5 Sundays and all that stuff. Like his opening dialogues are like always so fire up. Like it's on Sunday, like men are reformed or whatever. Like I think if they were to pick 10 teams between D1 and Pro and just do like 3 or 4 minute clips of each team building up rivalry matches going into the next tournament. Like so when the brackets are drawn, like. There's little clips sent in from y'all's practicing and scrimmaging, getting ready to go, and then like you build kind of like a fight night, like when people are going to go at it. Yeah. I mean, bring old Mikey over here. I'm cool with that Braces kid. We can, me and him, dude. We'll fucking fight one day. I mean, I have no personal issue against that guy that Ron Hillman's talking about. But, like, when we're on the field, the way he gets into Mikey's head, like, he gets into my players' heads, like, and it affects my playing because I'm worried about my players. And I'm like, dude, I'm just going to go smash this kid. But he's a cool dude. I have no personal issues with him. But on the field,
first step, new announcers. Okay, new announcers. Now, who would you have announce the NXL Pro Division if you guys don't think Manny Marshall and them are doing a good job? Because I think they're doing great, but that's just me personally.
I think Manny does an amazing job.
Manny Marshall was paintball.
Yeah. But no one's really stepped up and answered my question. How would you make the format more fun for someone to watch or the webcast?
I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah.
If they brought back coaching, when people get to interact and see things differently, they're more engaged into it. They want to see the excitement. They feel like they're doing something with the game.
As much as the players hate coaching.
So are you talking about 20-minute halves again?
No. Hold on.
I'm just saying coaching it like outside of it. Like, okay, I'll use this as an example. I have a video on YouTube. It's Yaya Bouchez pulls off a 3-on-1. Check it out. But the entire crowd was so into me winning this 3-on-1 in Chicago that it just got crazy, and it was a great feeling. But they felt like they were like helping me, and they were involved, so they had a part of it with them. If that was back again, then I feel like people will be more engaged into it, like just at the fields in general. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think if you think about it from a perspective of like a player or somebody going to an event and watching the event, how much cooler is it that you can be a part of that team's success by yelling where a player is or coaching or something like that? You know what I mean? So, nice dog in blast camp. We need Kyle in here. But essentially, I think at least for the spectator, for example, Charlie Broshears, if you're watching this, which he's probably not, this man used to go to every single event. Every single event. Too. Yeah, every single event in Canada. So we're talking 10 events a year for so many years in a row. And he would be there, and his job was to yell on the sidelines and be a coach and be a factor in how the team did well. And that gets the fans engaged on the sidelines with the team. It makes them feel a part of the team. It makes them feel way more engaged or way more rowdy. People are going crazy. It's just so much more fun for the spectator. Now, as a player, I get where people do not like the coaching aspect because it eliminates the sneakiness and the changes the game. But you had to work through that. You had to work through all the pressure and everyone yelling on the sidelines. And I personally think that's a good way to spice it up. That's
just bringing entertainment back to it. Just if you're like live there with it also. Another thing too, like people could look at is if we want to help really truly grow the sport. And I know it costs money as far as like with Go Sports to actually like pay the people who are behind it and like the cameras and have everything set up in the production crew. And I get it. That costs money. But if we took 1 year and didn't charge people to pay for Go Sports, then I guarantee that the amount of views would come from advertisement money alone, and we would grow paintball even bigger because you can't sell a product to somebody that they don't know anything about. So why would you go if we all know paintball, but that's because we know what it is. So you're just getting the people who already are at the event or are not at the event. And if you had it where it was one day, or I mean, like one event was entirely aired just for free, then you're going to get a ton of views and you're going to get people outside of it. Look what happened when Ashton Kutcher saw Taser Ball and put it out there because he saw it because it was free as to view. And then bam, all of a sudden it blows up. See what I'm saying? You can't sell a product to somebody that they don't know anything about because why would they want to spend their money on something they don't know anything about? If it's free and they can see it, then yeah, they're going to watch it just to even see it. And you're going to get the views and then you're going to get the ad money. But for us to charge people for it, and I get it, it costs money to run, but at the same time, let's try to sacrifice that and then go from there.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think the one thing is like you said, it costs money to run. And I don't know as far as Go Sports and stuff, like that's a very expensive production to put on.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know as far as funding of what that's a completely different subject, but for them to be able to magically get the money out of thin air, I just don't know how it would take time for that advertisement money to come in. So,
yeah, and I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm not saying it doesn't cost money. I'm just saying in general, and I get it. It costs a lot of money. It pay people salaries to have them be there, their time. It's their second job or whatever it may be. Yeah, I'm not saying they shouldn't get paid. I get it. But if we wanted to grow and really get the advertising money, or if we want to bring in bigger people, then that's how we're going to do it. I mean, last year we had with the TV show OCC, and then that got views. We got Paintball said so many times on TV, but now it's like, okay, what else can we do to make it go bigger?
Right. Well, I mean, now with internet being so prevalent, it's like
social media is huge.
Yeah, exactly. Now everything's online, like TV's turning it, like everything's changing and everything's evolving. So as long as we're out in people's faces, I agree. You go on Facebook and then all of a sudden a free paintball professional team podcast is on, or a webcast, you're going to watch, because
I just had it last week where Bob and Tom were talking about my fiance. She's on TV and they were being creepers on her social media. And then they're like, oh, this guy's a professional paintball player. And then they realized it was real. And then they were like, oh shit, we want to do this too. But it's because they didn't know about it. You see what I'm saying? But they're also saying paintball, so it's like, okay, sweet. But a lot of people don't realize that, we get it. It's there or it exists, but like it comes down to a lot of things, and I get it costs a lot of money. But I wish there was just a way to give it to people for free, because then it would grow. It would grow beyond belief. It would get the views. It would get the ad money. Facebook would want to advertise on it just because of what it does. Look at YouTube.
A perfect example right here.
$30,000 a month on that.
Esports is a perfect example.
Yes.
Like Yaya and myself, we both stream video games, but those things take off because people start watching because it's free. Period. I get it.
I'm free.
So then,
I'm free too.
So what do you think needs to be done though? Like, so you're talking about, like, Ron just posted about the payouts with esports. Like, I'm sure everybody remembers back in the day, Dynasty were winning Hummers and Mustangs and the $30,000 cash prizes. Like, I mean, what do you do to get that?
I see what you're saying. Like, why would somebody want? Okay, if I think anybody in the world.
I mean, from a divisional player, let me put it like, as a divisional player. Last year, I played Cup D5 5-man. Entries $1,000. There were 60 teams. That's $60,000 in entry just at World Cup for D5 5-man. What's first place win? $1,200. It's not even including paint sales.
Yeah,
no, I mean, I'm not trying to shit on the prize pack or anything else. I'm just saying, we can't sell a product to somebody that they don't know anything about and expect them to pay for it, like to even do it, because why would they pay for it?
But I think Ryan's point is if I were to watch a free webcast and the winners of the Pro Division gets 12,000 versus they get like 50 grand. I mean, I think there's a lot more at stake and there's a lot more to be watched because it's a lot more intense because there's a lot on the line. I see what Ryan's going with that.
Craig,
like
welcome to the party.
Like bigger. So, hey, Mikey, you got moved into the lounge just for a second so we can have Craig talk, because we can only have 6 people at once. But I guess my thing is I feel almost like prize package brings audience. Like when a fight, when you know there's $5 million on the line in a fight, it's going to have so many more views than the undercard that wins 10.
You're about to see someone get rich.
Yeah, 100%. No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
You're about to see someone's life made. I mean, I think with the problem is with our prize packages, if you take first, you may be paid for your event. Like, there's no profit, and none of us are playing this sport for a profit. We're playing it because we love it. Like, that is what it is. These events, I'm not saying it's not expensive for the NXL to put on the events. It definitely is. I can only imagine what it costs to rent the land at the Gaylord Palms Resort in Kissimmee, Florida. But I think bigger prize packages bring bigger views.
I agree. I mean, look at the Fortnite championship. Kyle, I don't know his last name. He won
$3 million.
Yeah, he won $3 million playing.
Booyah.
I mean, that's, of course, everyone's going to watch this kid try to win $3 million in a video game.
Squish. What do you do with $3 million? Go
right now.
I don't know. Save it.
First of all, we changed your name to Squish. Number 2 is I just said your name was Josh.
Save it. I like that's his first answer. That's good. At least you wouldn't spend it. Craig, what would you do right now? $3 million. Invest it?
Would you pay people?
That'd be me. I'd be an investor. Yep.
Boom. Booyah. Nice.
Boring answer, but it'd work. Just never have to work again. I'd just be a paintball player for the rest of my life. Off the intro.
So, Craig, welcome to the stream. How you doing?
I'm good, man. It's been a long few weeks, but doing good. Doing great, actually.
Yeah, where are you located at?
I'm in Sturgis, Michigan, so the very southern part of Michigan, right in the center.
Yeah. All right.
Like, everyone's safe. The family's all doing well. No one's sick, so
that's good.
Our world's looking up.
It's good to hear.
Very
How's
good.
everyone else doing? Is everyone else good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're just doing some social media attacking here with this podcast. Just
Getting through it together.
yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yep.
So Craig actually has been a part of a lot of the clinics we've done. He's done. How many have you done? At least 2, right?
I've done 2. Yep.
Okay. Yep.
Do you love it? You can tell us.
They're mediocre at best. I mean,
Well,
honestly,
so
if there
I
was
think a
some
big thing that
Go ahead, Ryan.
I was saying what Craig offers is his outlook. Like Craig has expressed to me the difference between what he experienced last year and what he's experienced this year, just learning.
Okay. I mean, I've seen Craig. We wanted to bring you in because last clinic that we had, we had a very small group, probably 10, 15 people,
Yeah.
and we worked on learning how to just break down a layout and play a layout and learning the side of the field. And something about Craig is I told Ryne to bring him in because I saw an aha moment, right? Like we talked about, Brad. It's that epiphany moment where he started to understand fully his job on the snake side of the field. And it took him maybe 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, 4. By the 4th point, he understood, okay, I need to get to the corner. Okay, what do I do after that? Then he learned the next step, then the next step. Next thing you know, he's bunkering people in the snake, diving into their snake and getting like 2 or 3 more kills, right? Yeah. But it took him from step 1 to learn step 6. And he was like a perfect example of an aha moment that I wanted to bring him in and get his input of how we implemented that and how that broke down in your mind with our teaching.
It was a lot. You say it's one aha moment, but I actually think it's a series.
Okay.
And they all kind of stack up on each other. So when we first started playing, you kind of said, well, where do you want to play? I'm like, I don't know, just put me wherever, right? And so you kind of moved me around a couple of different spots initially. And then for whatever reason, apparently in your mind, I felt like I ought to play the 2 and the snake, which was, okay, cool, that's fine. And I didn't really know the process, right? And I don't know if you guys have talked about this yet, but you talk about using a file, right? So we have a file in this particular situation, right? So I didn't have that first one, right? So you gave me the first one, and then you'd let me play until I made a mistake or there was an error of judgment, a situation where I didn't respond, probably given the situation. So then it was like rewind. All right, let's go back to this. He's here. This guy's in snake 1. This guy's in snake corner. Your guy's here. This is what you did. Let's rewind. If you would have done, and then you'd run through 2 or 3 different variables, right? And so all you did was, we get to the end of that file, and then you give me 3 more files to choose from, right? And the really cool thing that I think is the thing that I think, obviously I've been to exactly 2 clinics in my life. But the thing that was really unique about that particular clinic was you and Chad both, you replicated the same scenarios, right? And so in doing so, it allowed us younger, more inexperienced players to play to the end of these files that you had taught us, that you had given us, right. And then add another. And so what it did was it created, it was like a huge transfer of experience, right? And we kind of talked about this a little bit at the field, but it created this huge transfer of experience into just practical knowledge, right? So you can get experience in a couple of different ways. Repetition, or the transfer of knowledge. Transfer of knowledge is essentially the transfer of experiences, right? And so that's what you guys did. You created a very, very rapid transfer that wasn't, I wouldn't say it was it wasn't intellectually challenging to do these things, but you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And I think that's what you guys did a really good job of just allowing people to understand what they didn't know and respond to it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like you said, it's the building block. It's the files. It's just starting you off, giving you a bone, and then giving you a little bit more. And the next thing you know, you have the entire thing. Now you're ready, right?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
And I'm going to actually comment on too. Ryne, this is why I think that the program that you run is such a high quality of players, is because they are all there to learn. Like I ask everybody, like a lot of times at the clinics, like who loves winning at practice, and people like raising their hands, and I tell them to put their hand down or run, because when you're losing, you're learning. But if you're not there to learn at practice and you're just playing your strengths to show off to whoever, I don't even know who you're showing off to, it doesn't help you as a player. It just makes you look like an asshole. And I think that the program that you have, nobody's an asshole. Everybody's there willing to learn. And like Craig, I think you did a great thing of it. Like you absorbed everything from the first time you played at the indoor to the 7-second drill, being like, okay, I got to get this guy out of here, to, hey, I got to play the corner, and I got to know that if they're in the snake, Squish comes in and he says, hey, I got to take this guy out and stay alive. In situations like that's what helps people become better. But everybody has to be willing to learn. They have to be able to like accept things. And I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I've done it plenty of times where I yelled at my coach and I thought I was right, but I was wrong because they saw something I didn't see and I thought I was right. But you guys have such a good perspective. Mikey's real good about it. Squish, you're good about it. Craig, you're great about it. You're willing to learn. If you make a mistake, it's okay. But we're also not telling you how bad of a person you are because you just fucked up on the field.
Yeah. No, and I think that does speak volumes. Well, so there's two things there, right? So Ryne does a very good job of filtering the people that come in, and I haven't been a part of it for a long time, so I can't speak extensively to this. And I don't know how long, Joshua, you've been in this, but
who's
Ryne,
Josh?
What's that?
Squish. Oh, Squish. Okay. I'm like, who's Josh?
Oh, sorry. Apparently, okay, Squish. Maybe you could speak to that. But his filter is really, really simple. You know, when we were interacting, he's like, hey, if you're toxic, I'm going to boot you so fast you won't be able to see straight, you know. But, because I was really upfront. I was like, I'm not good at paintball. I don't have a lot of experience. I spent one season getting my face smashed in, and I don't want to do that anymore, right? And so his filtering was like, yeah, I don't care about any of that. You know, are you toxic to the people you're around, or are you not? And if you're not, you're welcome to be a part of free parking. And that was the extent. That was the tryout. Yeah. And so apparently,
that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really cool experience.
It's a great thing because people don't realize that being toxic and being negative doesn't help you become better at this sport. Like I've been that kid that was a little prick and a little asshole. Like in high school when I was playing, I was a little prick. But once you get a reality check of just being able to take criticism, and I still have problems with it now. Like I yell at my teammates or something doesn't go right or whatever, and we're all guilty of it. But at the same time, it's like if you just take a step back and realize, like, hey, if you made a mistake, just be accountable for it and then go from there.
Yeah, agreed. It's accountability.
I might be a nice guy, but most of my players will tell you, like in group chats and times, I can be an a-hole or a smartass. Like if you say something stupid, like for example, if I post a layout with all the bunker names labeled to the group chat, and then someone says, "What's this?" Like you're gonna get the most smartass, like stupid comment retort back from me because I'm like, it's a layout with bunker names on it. What do you think it is? It's what we're playing this weekend. Learn it. Like, but you know what? How I am with one person, I am with the other. I won't be like this to you and not be like that to everybody. In fact, if I'm not as smart ass to you, or if I don't talk a little shit or razz you a little bit, then I probably don't like you. And a lot of that's probably just from being in the military or where I grew up. You know, it's talking shit to each other is kind of for fun what we just did.
Oh, look at this last name. That's a good last name,
Joshua. Yeah, it is. Joshua, in a minute, we're going to swap you out to let Eli talk, but you can still be there. You're just going to be going to the lounge.
Yep, just hang out in the lounge.
Brad can explain that better than I can.
Especially when it comes to top superstar players going 1v1, Fedorov and Archie. It's just an exciting example. You could build drama and a storyline that you want to follow. Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Eli, how we doing?
Hey, what's up, man?
How you been?
Eli, did you get caught cheating on the last practice? I just need to know.
No. It was one of my boys. I let him have it at the next practice we went to, though, but it wasn't me.
Did you have to run?
Let's see. Last practice, I did 3 warm-up laps and then 9 because 3 people cheated. So
9 laps?
I think I ran at least a mile.
I don't think 3 people cheated. I think 1 person cheated 3 times.
Yeah, no, it was 1 person and that did it twice, and then another that it doesn't matter.
The line that Squish was on didn't have to run that often, but they were laughing at the other line a lot.
It was rough.
Yeah, not when we beat them.
All right, let's see. Agreed in the prelims. I've seen people sleeping on the stands. Prelims should be free for the public to watch. Might make them want to come back Sunday and see what happens. That's a good alternative. I like that. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
I don't agree with that. People at the event are there to play the event. It's hard to get that big of a following. It's a free event to come to. If you want to watch the pros, yes, it costs money to put the stands around. So I understand if it's not full right away. By Sunday, if you're in the knocked out or whatever, you still want to watch pro paintball. They're going to come no matter what. it's hard to get a crowd in there because not enough people know about it.
No, I think
I went to a gaming convention right before Vegas, and I realized that paintball is such a small community, and there's so much more money in other things, but we don't do other things to gain more money. It's a catch-22. Like I said, if it's a free webcast, then more people are going to see it from the outside. And that's what we need to happen. We need Mountain Dew, Pepsi. We have acknowledgement from Nike. We need those things. And it's hard because there is guns and it is a luxury sport, but we need to do things to offset the cost. It's hard because it does cost a lot of money to run things. I get that. But if we can figure out a way how to make that where it's free to the public and they can view it on the internet more than just a YouTube video or highlight, then I think it will really, truly grow.
This one's to you, Eli.
Oh, what's up, Joe? Hey, that's one of the cheaters.
Yo, you hear that?
You got to make it run?
Yeah.
Joe, he put you on blast, dude. He basically called you out, let you know. Next time, you just basically destroy his reputation. You better.
Yeah, he'll never make the pro leagues now, right, Ronnie? You won't let him.
He was playing great. He just had moments where he was the line.
Yeah, blackballed is right. Blackballed, yeah.
Oh, boy. Better be in blue balled, I guess.
Yeah, well, we're not that kind of team.
So now it's one of those things where we're bringing in people to show and illustrate the point that it doesn't really matter what your skill set is, whether it's just starting out or an actual competitive player now, that you want aspects of your game to be filled in, gaps you want to add to that filing cabinet, if I build on Ronnie's analogy, which is a good one, which is true. And, that's the thing. And Ryne, you can explain to us the significance of Eli and Craig, which you touched on. Craig, why don't you tell us Eli's story?
Well, Eli plays for that. We spent last year basically practicing against a lot the Chicago Wildcards, who we're friends with them. Free parking and the Wildcards. The guy who owns the team, Elias. Did I say that right, Elias?
Yeah, Elias. Yeah.
I feel like I messed his name up a lot. Elias, yeah, he's a good guy. So
he said
what
Elias.
happened was I originally reached. I reached out to him to see if any of his players wanted to join the clinics, and Eli here's been to quite a few of them now. I believe he's been to a majority of them. He's definitely done more than Craig. Craig was actually brought to me by 1-4 Blasters on my D4 Blast Camp line that I helped run. Craig needed a home, and it's the skill thing. I guess the way I view how when Craig and Eli, I think, has grown greatly in his skill, though. I'm sorry to not switch subjects, but watching him with Ronnie and Chad, I can say that I've actually have played many of points against him, and before where I could put pressure on Eli as a back center man, and I could almost freeze him in his bunker. Not always, but he just wouldn't come out as much. I'd get pressure on him, and he's there. Now with playing with Chad and Ronnie and at these clinics, he'll come out low. He'll come out a different side. He'll find a way to try to get me back in or move. It's you can definitely see his secondary thoughts have improved on the field. I don't know if you want to call that game IQ or just naturally what to do, but his flow and decisions after he gets to his bunker are just getting better from being on the other side of the field with him. Because most clinics I'm against him because it's just how it always works, I guess. I'm normally shooting at him, not with him. I don't know why, but I just thought about it like that. And then Craig, I just know what he's told me, and he just says that he's learned more in 2 clinics with us than he did in a whole season with his old program.
And that's
my biggest thing is, I guess. And the thing with the skill is, I guess the way I look at it is, as long as you have the time and are willing to put in the effort, I literally have 2 of the best players in the world to put you on the field with to get you that skill. This isn't a sport you're born with, unless maybe you're Konstantina Fedorov and you're just like, I'm born to do this. This is definitely a sport where most of these guys, there's natural talent, but these guys, play paintball 6 times a week. They sit in front of a mirror with a chair in front of them, and they practice snapping out of that chair, seeing how much they expose. Their form, I just remember I did one private, like Dizon invited me to go drill with him one time at O'Hare after I'd done legs the day before. And this man murdered me with something I would have never done on my own. Just sitting behind a short Aztec in a squat position with him behind me and targets set up. And he would say, go, 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 go. Every time he said go, that's how many shots I had to fire to try to hit my target. And as we progressed, you got to hit the target 4 times before you can get out of this position. And I'm wanting to fall to the ground because my legs are on fire because I'm 340 pounds. I'm squatting behind a mini Aztec. I don't do this. But it just, after that, my legs are getting stronger. The time he takes with all of these guys, and that's just for me on a personal, he does at the clinics with the other guys. It's just these simple drills we do that just increases everybody. That it's just the things we don't get to do on Sunday, because most guys, when they show up to play on Sunday, everybody wants to play points. It's really hard to stop a field from playing points for drills. So all of our clinics are done on a closed field where it's just us.
Yep.
Ryne, I'll comment on that also if I could. Something that, and I'll give everybody who's tuned in right now, I'll give them a little bit of knowledge right here. The things that we do, and I'll shout out the Russian Legion for this, because we learned this from our guys from before they came to the greatest team in the world. They literally show you how to wear yourself down or break yourself down, and then if you think about it, you play all the way on Sunday, 3-4 matches, depending on where you land on Sunday, but you're so tired that you don't know how to focus. But if you train yourself on how to wear yourself down, and you can still process things as far as, okay, I know I got to go do my job. I got to play every single point. The Russian Legion, when they played us at World Cup this past year, Leo is a great athlete and played 60, 70 points in the whole tournament and had to sit in the finals and let somebody go because he couldn't go again. That hurt them. And it sucks because it literally, you have to mentally be there. But if you're so worn out, but that's things that we train you on. So when you take your legs out of it, and like Jason Chosen did a great job when we first started this team.
100%. That's a huge inspiration right there.
I would throw up on my fucking gun. Like, I'm telling you right now, I would be hurting for days. Now it's not that way anymore. But at the same time, like, we do things to mentally break you down, just like when you're in the military or anything else. If you can think past being tired and you can go on Sunday and in the finals, then yeah, you're gonna probably fucking win. Like, that's just how it works. Does that make sense?
Just Eli Craig, what would you say it looks like after the first 20 minutes or 10 minutes, even after we just do Ronnie's warm up? Like, that alone, just
fuck Ronnie's warm up
that he makes everybody do.
Wait, did you just say fuck the? Wait, no.
It hurts. It sucks. I hate it. No, it's good because exactly what we're trying to push right there. When you
I'll tell you what, one time
Sunday, you're tired.
Okay, listen. One time, the one-on-ones. So I have a drill, or I learned this drill from Jason Trojan. It's a one-on-one, but you have to run to the 50-yard line, touch the 50-yard line, come back, grab your gun, start the one-on-one. I learned that from Jason Trojan. Shout out to Jay. I one time was doing this is just a quick story. I was doing a tryout for a team. This is MidWest Arson, and I had this kid show up, and I had a bunch of these kids I've never met in my life, and a bunch of people who I knew, and everyone had to retry out. We do these one-on-ones. This kid runs to the 50-yard line, touches the 50-yard line, grabs his gun, shoots the other guy off the break, walks straight off the field and straight out the door. And I never saw him again.
Who do you think is Deion Sanders?
That's what I'm saying. Like, he sits down, I go, "You good?" He goes, "I got a headache." And then I never saw him again, ever. And it was just one sprint. And it just shows, because when I was younger, I never realized how much of a active sport this was, especially at the tournament scene. So I remember the first tournament I went to, I was gassed, and I only played like 3 or 4 points. So that's what we try to prepare you for, is to get you in an athlete's mindset for that part of the game.
It's a mental game. If you can overcome it, then it just depends. Like, that's going to help you succeed in the sport. Yeah, and I get it.
I think the warm up alone. Mm-hmm. The warm-up alone shows everybody just how out of shape they really are, and it shows them the difference in why they are D5 and D4 and not up at the higher level is just can't make it through the warm-up.
Yeah, it's true. That is very true.
We have a ton of. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Oh no, I was gonna say what I like about that too is when you have a warm up that just pushes you to your limit. Some people are on the ground, they look like they're gonna puke. Let's get you to your limit, and then what Ronnie does is just push it, because as long as you can keep pushing, having that reserve energy.
Yeah.
When you have points last forever, when you have to run straight down the field, which I did in one drill and it looked terrible, but when you have to do it, it's nice to.
It's your willpower, man.
Yeah.
It's your willpower. That's really what it is. A lot of people think their willpower is here when it could be through the roof.
And it's infinite. You just keep going.
The biggest thing also is
just don't blow your noid on impact.
What they do in the warm-up. All right, Edward. Well,
I come to the clinic. You'll find out.
Come to one of the clinics.
Die.
See you later.
You got to pay for that.
So
$38 a month. Let's go.
There's actually a really
online
that I really enjoyed. So whenever you do something new, right? When you go back and you get done, you go back and you start thinking about it as you drive home, or when you get home that night, you're taking a shower, eating dinner, whatever, talking to your wife about it. There was something really, really cool, because initially I was like, I paid all this money to go and, do, down ups and running back and forth. And why I felt like it was a waste of time initially. Right. But then, and then we went back, and then we did, I think after that we did one-on-ones, and then we started, then we went to breaking down the field. Right. And so initially my thought on that was that this is a waste of time. If I want to run up and down a field, I don't need to pay 2 professional players to tell me to do it, right?
Sure.
Ryne can tell me to go run, but my kid can go tell me to run. But it was really interesting because that tied into everything that happened at the end, right? So it was really interesting to me as I thought back on it. So initially it's like, okay, go run, right? So then we're going to find out how in shape we are, right? And, there's all these mental aspects that go along with it, right? And so then after that, we go to one-on-ones, right? And so I've been a part of one-on-ones, which was really just about an ego competition. That's really what it was, is who's going to shoot who, and then we can all talk about who's best. But what, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but what I think you were actually doing was you were assessing individual skills, individual capabilities, and your ability to, so then we add in another person, right? So then we went to 2-on-2s, right? And so now we've got individual skills that are easy to assess, because we have a 2-to-1 ratio on the field at that point.
Yep.
And from there, now it's very easy to assess your ability. Are you talking? Yep. Are you not talking? Are you shooting? Are you, all these other things? Yeah. And then when I started looking back, right? So when we started doing one-on-ones, all of the information you got was about your technical skills. You're coming out in the same spot every time, right? So Chad says, he says, hey, every time you came out on the right side, you came out at the same level. It was like, cool. I know what a right side is. What's a level? So then we talked about levels, right? So that was the first step, right? So then we go into the second round with the 2-on-2s, right? And, again, in my mind at the time, I'm like, this is a giant waste of time. Why are we doing this? I can go do 2-on-2s in the woods if I want.
Sure.
But again, so then as I'm thinking back on it, all of the feedback I got in my 2-on-2s had to do with communication and teamwork, right?
Correct.
So then we take another step forward, and we go into, like, we had sectioned off in O'Hare a section of the field, and so then so for people who weren't there, if you were to take like the 50 and we were playing on the D side, and you could only play on that side of the field, right? I just started getting feedback from someone.
Is that right?
That's my fault. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I fixed it.
So anyway, so we sectioned off the D side of the field, and Chad and Ron went and they said, okay, these are the bunkers you can play on, right? And from that point, all the feedback we got, and for the rest of the day, was situational. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't about, hey, you're shooting right-handed only, you're shooting left-handed only, whatever it happens to be, right? So you go back and you tie that first that first one-on-one, actually go all the way back to the warm-up. Yeah. It ties to the end of the clinic, right? Yeah. And then so you just jump forward to the second one, and this is where it got really, really cool for me as I was thinking about it. If you take what you're trying to garner from these clinics, is a unit measured any way you want, right? It's a unit of paintball knowledge, a unit of paintball IQ, however you want to quantify that, right? That's what you're trying to do, right? So if you go to one clinic, you get 1 unit, let's say, hypothetically, right? The really cool thing that I saw, and Eli, you can speak to this if you want, but the really cool thing was once you went to the second clinic, that's where the real learning happened. So you had this first one that kind of set things up. And what was really, really cool was that you got 1 unit of value in the first clinic, right? Which was really cool. That's a lot to garner, however you want to, again, quantify it. When you go to the second clinic, you got 4 units of knowledge because you didn't have to go back to the beginning of the first. So it was a compound, right? So then you go to the third clinic, the fourth clinic, the fifth clinic, at that point, by the end of the second clinic, Ronnie wasn't working with me on, hey, this is where you need to run to. At that point, it was like, this is how you communicate with a coach. And when this lane is blocked, this is the little. So after doing the big, this is you're being dumb. Change this. Then we got into the minutia of that little position I was playing. And so what was really, really cool is if we would have left that layout, and hypothetically speaking, everybody goes home and comes back the next day, and we all flip sides, right? So not only have I learned the snake side, then I jump over and play the D side, right?
Yeah.
And hypothetically, again, we go into the next day, everybody goes home, comes back. Then we take Ronnie, put him on the opposite side of the field, bring Chad over to my side, rinse and repeat. So when you start assessing what you're getting out of a clinic, it was really, really cool to me once I started thinking about it and how it all built on top of each other. And there wasn't one wasted minute in the time. They were very respectful of the time that we purchased from them, right? And in the history of paintball, nothing has ever started on time except these 2 clinics. It started on time because Chad and Ron were yelling at everyone to get on the field because it was time to start. And I know I'm being a little long-winded here, so I'll let Eli, you can go ahead and roll. But that's what that was my assessment.
See, I knew that this was bring into the podcast.
No, that was I couldn't have said it better, but I will add, like, I don't have the units of knowledge that great analogy, but there are 2 things that Ronnie told me, one at each clinic both at one clinic that really stuck with me, and I've been able to carry through all of them. Is one of them was I was at 50 in a drill, and I just stopped there and kind of did nothing. And Ronnie's on the sideline coaching, and he goes, "What's stopping you? What's stopping you?" What he really meant by that, and just the sentence, was saying, evaluate your options, check off what bunkers you can, that might shoot you, and then make your move. There's no one looking at you, right? So as someone who's only had a little over a year speedball experience, just make a move. It's a drill. It's not even a point in practice. Mm-hmm. So that's something that I've been able to carry over. And then the other that Yaya and Ronnie both have said many times is that they have these file cabinets where they take every experience, good or bad, they file it away, and then at every point when they get into that situation, open your file cabinet and you can pull out the best options you have. Yeah. And so,
because that's all you have.
Yeah, exactly. And like Craig's unit of knowledge analogy, I'm filing everything away from all of these clinics. And when I'm in the Dorito 3 and I don't know what to do, you open it up, you pull it back, as quickly as you can. You figure out what's stopping you, you check off the bunkers, and you do your best to secure the point. I don't know, those 2 things, taking those and then going to practice on Sunday with my team, monumental increase in how well I did. I was zipping up places.
You felt confidence.
Division, exactly. Like 2 divisions, above me were just like, where the hell did he come from?
Yeah. So and the big thing is you got that competence to have the confidence, right? You built the foundation, so when you went out there, you had a plan already. You were ready. It's like if you were to play, we're gonna go back to like Call of Duty or PUBG or something, a video game. You know exactly if it's a certain map. You know exactly the spots you need to go to hold something off, and you know exactly the spots to capture something, to attack something. So you go on the field and you play the layout once or twice, or whatever layout was. You're like, dude, let's go. I'm ready. I know something that some people don't on my line, and I already got my plan, so I'm confident what I'm going to do.
I'll say this too. The first year I ever went pro.
Yeah, there's lightning in the background, Ron. I see it too.
Yeah. I'll say this: Chris Lasoya, he took me under his wing right away, and to me that was huge because Chris Lasoya is like that's like looking at one of the gods of paintball, right?
Yeah.
And having him come into my hotel room and talk to me because he was good friends with Jeremy Solomon at the time, or they're still good friends, and he came in and he's like, "Who's wearing this beanie?" And I was like, "Oh, it's me." And he's like, "Hey, you're a rookie, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, listen, bitch." And yeah, he kind of talked down to me, but at the same time, he said, "Hey, the biggest thing I can ever tell you right now," I didn't even ask him a question. I just listened to the whole time he talked. He said, "If you know your shots from every bunker you go to, that will make you succeed." I said, "Okay." So I always push myself to, hey, if I go here, I have to know. So when people walk fields and things like that, where my shots are. But that's something that he told me that I took in. And I didn't even realize how much he taught me in that one sentence or line right then and there. But I took the ability to want to learn from him because I respected him as a person and as a pro. That it was huge. And that's something that everybody does at these clinics is they're open-minded. Like they're literally willing to learn. And Elias, I've seen how good you're at communicating and you take in things. And yeah, it sucks when your buddy cheats or your teammate cheats, but at the same time, like you're like, hey, what could I have done here? And it's just you being open is exactly what Craig's same thing. You have the willingness to learn at these clinics is exactly what will make you successful in paintball.
100%. And for his Chris Lasoya comment, mine was Jason Trojan, who was our coach in 2012, 13, and 14. The point you brought up, Elias, was that when I'm on the sidelines and you're playing and I'm saying what's stopping you, that is exactly what Jason did to me.
Yes.
So I'm reiterating what he does and what it did for me mentally, because what it did is when I was released from the team and I played on Aftershock, he was still in the back of my mind, and he still is when I play. I hear his voice. What are you doing to help the team win right now? Or what could you be doing to be down the field, or what's stopping you? And it just clicks always in my head. And that's the kind of engagement and like the cues that you need for your mental game. So when you go play, like you said, you go out there and you play, you have that. Maybe it's my voice, maybe it's Jason's voice, whoever's voice it is, maybe it's Chris Lasoya's voice. They're in the back of your mind and you're ready to fire off, and you're trying to make things happen instead of passively wondering what could have happened.
Yeah, I'll say this also. Jason Chosen has been, if not the biggest, or is to this day, the biggest influence I've ever had as far as somebody that taught me how to play paintball. Like I run up the middle and I don't hesitate and I bunker people and I try to fuck them up as much as I can. But he gives me different perspectives of like, hey, if you got to adjust and you got to play different spots, you have to be able to have that acknowledgement. And that's the type of stuff that you want a coach to teach you. But like, I almost quit the team because of Jason at one point because he wasn't playing me. And I was like, this guy just doesn't like me, blah, blah, blah. But it was on me. It was on me to go and work harder. I wasn't working hard enough. He saw a potential in me and he pulled it out of me. And he made it where, hey, if you're not going to perform, then I'm not going to play you. But if you work harder, then yeah, it will all fall into place. You want to bet? Love you.
Yeah, it's all these life lessons that we can learn and that help sculpt us into the players that we are. And we carry those lessons for generations, for decades.
Yes. If you don't have that, either if you don't have that personal experience, the problem, that's why the clinics are good as well. Because if you don't have that personal experience to like hear something that they said or like whatever it may be, like, and it's different than it was in 2002 or 2003 or 2000, like all the way until 2012 almost. Pros aren't assholes anymore. They're willing to help people and they're willing to acknowledge, hey, this is our future coming up. If this sport wants to grow, then we all need to do it together. Before it was fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And nobody was going to help anybody. But right now, it literally is changed. The whole mode of it's changed. And it has to be the willing to grow, like the knowledge to want to learn. And I think that Craig, Elias, you guys do a great job of it. I think that everybody who attends those does a great job of it. They show up and they're on time. And like you said, we're running things on time. It's because they want to be there and they want to learn. And that's something huge.
100%.
Absolutely.
So I guess I'm curious about two things, and I don't want to derail the conversations, but I'm just real curious. Would you the attitude that I see when I'm with you guys is exactly that, and you kind of hinted at this, but so what you're saying is historically if I would have hired, if Ryne would have gotten together a group of guys and they would have paid a bunch of money to have this Chris Lasoya. I don't know who Chris Lasoya is, but we'll bring Chris Lasoya in and he's going to fly in or drive over or whatever and play. He would have been a jerk to you while you were on the field.
In 2002 to probably 2008, if you would have made it, like, he didn't do clinics because that dude was so good. He was the first guy to probably almost make $1 million fucking dollars off paintball. Like, he probably made the most money for a long time off of paintball because he was the pony boy. Like, he was the guy that everybody wanted to be, but his time was different. Everybody was, if you were a pro, you were mean to people. You were, like I said, you were either.
It wasn't like this. It was,
yeah.
It was, I'm pro.
If you weren't paying me here right now, I wouldn't be sitting here at that time period.
Yeah.
But it's different. Like, times are different these days.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Why?
Can I chime in?
Yeah,
Being from that era,
yeah, go ahead, Brad.
I grew up with that, and it was very different. And we were talking about that before the program, where I was 16, 17 years old, traveling to the Chicagoland area to build my game. And it was definitely the era of tough love, where guys, instead of getting to know you, it was one of those things where, like in a lot of the fighting sports, if you can take a beating and you come back tomorrow, you got a little bit of respect in my book. You do that 10 to 15 times, now you've got a little bit more, but I'm still going to grind you into what we are. That's where they came from. When Yaya was talking about the guys fighting in their own teammates, that's what I grew up in at 17 or 18, and I saw that. Now, not everybody was that way, but a lot of the guys were. And when you come up in a system where it's dog eat dog, people are always wanting your spot. You don't want to let people in close to you because you're afraid of a lot of things. So that was kind of the unwritten code with the older guys. They were not very approachable. And it was definitely the era. And that's what I love the most about this era, which is conversely different, where I know all of those old dudes, but it took me 20, 30 years to be able to talk to them. Ronnie and Yaya just instantly say, hey, if we can help and if I can help you, it's just like that. Instantly approachable. It's the new era of how it is. Those are some great guys there, but that was how they were brought up.
No, absolutely. And honestly, like Ronnie actually, this is how Ronnie and I met. I was teaching a clinic to a famous musician from Mexico on a Saturday night, and Ronnie was there just working his ass off. He was just there because he wanted to learn, but he was there and we were doing things. And then it's just like, I wasn't going to go and, hey, like, fuck you didn't pay me to be here. Like, come on in here, blah, blah, blah. It was like, hey, if you're willing to learn, but like, it also has changed.
And I also worked at the field, so you couldn't really tell me no because I was working too.
I'd sleep at the field. He was a worker at the field. It worked out.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, I definitely dealt with, if you don't have that mental, like, capacity of being like, hey, you know what? Fuck you. But at the same time, like, you also have to, like, look and, like, and I'll give it to my father on this one. Like, he was like, hey, you're a legend in your own mind. Because a lot of these guys are legends in their own minds. And a lot of people don't understand that, as far as, like, hey, just be nice to people and help them and give them the opportunity that either you were given or you earned. And if you do that, then it's probably going to work in your favor. But if you don't, then your own ego got in your way, and that's your own fault. And everybody has excuses and things like that. But that's a lot of things that people don't come down to, like accountability and credibility and things like that. So
100%.
Yeah. And to bring it into another vein is that now there's been, in the last 3 years, a big resurgence in what's called the classical format, where a lot of those players that some guys know, but help to develop the pros who are sitting before you. You know, they had hands in developing them. Those guys are coming back. They're playing the classic format, and they're giving current NXL and everyone a chance to mingle and talk to those guys who were instrumental in their development. And that's a great thing, and I think needs to be pointed out as well.
Brad, who do you think, in your opinion, is the most, like, who has brought up the most people in paintball to be successful as far as like a pro or anything else? Do you have like a specific person?
Well, here, the clinic. Let's start with the clinic because it's what brings us together here. Mm-hmm. The first people to run a clinic, and it affected me personally in a deep way, was Rennick Miller and Bob Long. Okay. Now, when the best players, arguably the best captains who are relevant for decades, trained hundreds and hundreds of pro players.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Throw a clinic. That's like Woodstock for me. That's where a guy from Minnesota who doesn't really have anyone to help goes. So we went to Chicago to learn from that. So that would be my first toss out. There would be Bob Long and Rennick Miller.
Okay.
Yeah, those are very, very influential people in the sport.
Ronnie, how about you?
For me personally, I want to say it's Oliver.
Okay.
Because
not just as a player, just like somebody who has just like you said, like
influence.
I'll let you finish. Yeah.
I mean, the biggest thing for me was Oliver, and I think I could speak for a lot of people, was Oliver for me gave me that hope to be able to become something in this sport, whether it's a professional player or to be something of an ambassador or an influence in the sport, to bring the fire out in younger players, whether it's Eli, Craig, or it doesn't even matter what age you are, but bring that fire out and that spark within the player that you if you know who Oliver is. Back in the day, or whatever teams he's been on, he's been able to bring everyone on his team to the same level as him. And to me, that's an inspiration, because when I go and play in Australia and I play with my team out there, or I go and play with our own team, or when I go do the clinic, I want to bring the best out in the people around me. And that has inspired me to do what he's done for Dynasty, for the Ironmen, for every team he's played for. And I want to emulate that same fire, So that's me. That's my personal opinion.
Yep.
Ryne, do you have anybody?
I mean, growing up, I would say it's a different era. I was a big Rocky Cagnaghi fan. That's like Avalanche and Rocky was kind of like just who I watched. And then I took a long break, but now it'd probably be YouTube, because I get to personally learn from both of y'all on an actual basis. It's more than just watching, theater videos or trauma head videos that I was able to borrow off a buddy of an old event or something like. So, I mean, definitely my childhood, it was Ollie Lang, or, you would put, I don't know. I just always liked the Rocky and the Chris Lasoya attitude. Like I like the old school.
Oh no, those guys were on my wall when I was in high school. Like, it wasn't like I had naked pictures on the wall. I had paintball players. So
I guess, but it's even, I grew up playing Texas football. I mean, like that hard. I actually find myself at a challenge sometimes with some of my players, and when I'm running the team, not to go into like an Army mode, or not to go into that Texas 90s mode or the old paintball mode, and not to be a little too hard or grind too hard or just lay into them. And even if it's out of love, it's a different kind of love than what they're used to experiencing, because they didn't grow up with that love, and it will scare them away, because even like Craig's over here, like, what the hell? You're okay with that? It's like, I mean, yeah, we were. It was, there was a day of 15-pound shoebox guns that shot 80 balls a minute with a fucking warp bead attached to it, and it was violent and it was mean, and most of the time it was some 30-year-old guy who could shoot all day long versus a kid like me with this Piranha PL blowback that's just getting fucking rocked, because I can maybe get like 8 balls a second out Why I'm just catching streams from like cheater boards and Blackheart boards that are never stopping, and it's just, and then you come back for more. Like, if paintball's different. I love paintball now, I do, but I mean, I miss paintball from a kid. I miss hyperball. I miss pickup speedball. Like, airball's fun. I love airball. Like, it is, but I wish to see hyperball and even all that just get bigger. And I love seeing these old ICC videos. Like, I think last year Chris Lasoya is actually in a video just like tidying the hell out of somebody up close because they pissed him off as the refs like pulling his flag. And like the man gets shot 30 times and doesn't even flinch. And it's like point blank. He's like, what?
He's a tough motherfucker, let me tell you.
Yeah, like it's
Craig, Elias, do you guys have anybody that you feel like it's okay if you don't right now, because I get it. You're still new to things and you're still learning about things. So it's okay if you don't have an answer for it.
So I started playing last year. So I stopped playing. I played when I was a kid, and I stopped when I was 18. It would have been like 1998, I think, 1999, some along those lines. And so for me, last year, you would have to go back to last year plus. So go back 18 months. I had gotten away from paintball, and I started businesses and had a family, did college, owned, Ryne knows, I got my fingers in like way too many things. And I was just, my blood pressure was through the roof. I had way too much going on. And my wife was like, you have to figure something out. And, so I walked up, I rented a gun, and I went down to Leado, where Jeremy Salm has a field now. And there's all these pro guys, and no one, like really famous people. I know like a couple of the outlaw guys now, but at the time I had no idea who they were. And I was just standing on the side of the field, like watching these guys tear each other up. And Jeremy Salm walks over to me and he's like, hey, do you want to get in on this? And I was like, yeah, sure. And that's where the whole thing began. So I would say Jeremy Salm would be a big one. He's the one who, if he wouldn't have walked over to me and talked to me, I probably would have.
You probably wouldn't even be here.
No, I would have turned my rental gun in and said, well, that sucked, and went and found something else.
Right.
Yeah.
So Jeremy Salm just walking up to me and saying hello was a big deal.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, outside of that, it would just probably be the people in this podcast. I got to play with Eli. That was a lot of fun. Elias was great. There was some of your team members that weren't so great to play with.
Yeah, I know. Trust me.
But that was fun. I mean, I'm a part of a great group of guys. The free parking guys, they're all super, super nice. You walk in and they say hello and do their thing. So it's really weird to think about this world that you guys are talking about, because I'm 37 years old and I'm going to play D5 paintball. I don't want, I'm not, my aspiration isn't to be a pro. My aspiration is to do something I really enjoy. Right. And if I'm going to do it, I might as well be good at it. Right.
Yeah.
If that means I have to go to clinics to do it, okay, cool. That's great.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of my take on it is Jeremy Salm, and then probably the people in this podcast.
Cool. It's awesome, man.
I'm gonna go ahead and get mine. Or wait, go ahead, Elias. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna just Eli. I was just gonna say, I mean, I basically the same answer as Craig minus Jeremy, because I don't know him. Haven't only played for a year. I don't have a lot of people to like look up to or that were influential. I mean, I'd say the team owner Elias, just for like giving me the opportunity. Just like I reached out to the team and I was like, hey, I want to try this. And he's like, okay, you can run with us. Just that alone, giving someone the opportunity who's never tried it to try it and run on a team instead of having to come on like a Thursday night or Sunday morning and just sort of like weekly ask to jump on some line, right? That doesn't really get you anywhere. And I learned that in high school when I tried. But this, just getting the opportunity was everything. So
there you go.
Pretty much that.
That's good. I'll go and say mine. Mine is actually two guys. Mike Hinman. He has gone above and beyond out of his own personal pocket, his own mindset. He's sacrificed, and he has created world champions. Impact would not have won those championships without Mike Hinman. I don't care what anybody says. Alex Goldman, Rainey Stanzak, Dalton Vanderbilt, Justin Cornell, or not Justin Cornell, Brandon Cornell.
Yep.
Shout out Brandon Cornell. Sorry, Brandon. These guys are just they got shit on, but they were so mentally tough through that time. Alex Goldman is so mentally tough that he has been through the ringer, but he's so good about his credibility because of Mike Hinman. Like, he'll never not acknowledge Mike Hinman because that guy went and found players. He literally put Rainey Stanzak on Dynasty in 2005, and they won a championship in Pro Division together because he saw something in Rainey. And Rainey played for Mike for a long time because he had so much respect for him. And Rainey is probably the most winning pro player and been in the most finals and has the most wins, probably other than Fedorov or Oliver, in all of paintball history. Yeah. And it's crazy because a lot of people don't even know who Rainey Stanzak is because he doesn't give a shit about the acknowledgement of being famous or anything else, or didn't get advertised or anything else. If anybody was truly standing behind anything, Rainey Stanzak should be probably on the poster of everybody's fucking wall right now, but we don't have posters, so it is what it is. But that guy will make sure you win because Mike Hinman put things into Rainey's head and literally took things above and beyond. So one is Mike Hinman and two is Jeremy Salm. Jeremy, because of Nick Matthews, Brad, we were talking about Nick earlier. Nick brought me to Jeremy, and Jeremy, he liked me, but he hated me. He couldn't figure it out at first, and he loved me. And he's loved me since probably the day he's met me. But at the same time, he's literally told me in my mindset, give yourself 3 years in pro all together. Stay loyal, stay together, don't bounce around. Because I bounce around on teams all the time when I was younger. Stay loyal, stay together for 3 years. You're going to be in the finals in a pro division. 3 years later, after Jeremy told me that, I got my ass mercy ruled by the Russian Legion, 7-0. But I was in the finals with Chicago Aftershock. Mercy ruled. I had nightmares for 2 weeks, but Jeremy Salm put me in that position. So that's mine. Mike Hinman, Jeremy Salm. That's who stands in my corner right there.
I'm gonna add Jason Trojan to mine because I wouldn't be the player that I was today without
him.
I
can't explain to you how much I love Jason.
And our two Russian fellows because they've influenced me a lot.
Yeah. Jason Chosen took me to another level. Those guys, I'm saying they brought people up. Jason Chosen took me to another level. So
100%.
Well, with that being said, I first want to thank everyone for their time today. We're not cutting it off right now, but we're just going to start in the wrap-up procedure here. So Eli, Craig, and the guys that are out there listening, thank you very much for coming on and having a conversation with us and giving us your experiences, because more people need to hear it. More people need to know that, you're a year or 2 years in or 4 or 5 years in, and it benefits. Everyone can benefit, whether you are a new player or an old player. And I say that all the time. And that's why I try to bring in as many great minds around my players, is because you might connect with someone that you're just not connecting on that level with me. And if we feel the same way about it, I know that it's all good because we all want the same things and we're all thinking the same way of the game. And it just encourages me as a coach to know that the youth of the area is being trained extremely well by the best. And that's only exciting from my perspective. So Eli and Craig, I want to thank you guys for being here with us. And if you want to give a shout out to anyone before we go, we'll start with you, Eli.
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to my team, Chicago Wildcard, because I'm not on free parking, and also Joe, who I kind of blackballed earlier. One of the few guys I absolutely trust to be in the corner and be at my back, not shoot me in the back, and always communicate. So those are my
shout out to Joe.
Absolutely.
Yep. Perfect. Well, thank you very much, Eli. And you can stay in the waiting room and listen to the rest of the cast. We'll be wrapping it up here. So I appreciate your time. Thank you very much, Eli. And then we'll go with you, Craig. Craig, do you want to shout out to anyone?
I'll probably just shout out to the free parking guys. It's been a lot of fun to play with those guys. What little I've been able to because of everything, but that would definitely be one. And then also to the guys in the room again, just one more time. It's been an absolute. It was eye opening. It was a very, very unique experience.
I love that. I love that, Craig. Love it.
Not over yet, Crag.
Yep.
We got more running to do, baby.
It was great. It's so funny. So Chad, you came up with in the world of Jeremy Solomon, so you understand how different this is from that, and so it's a cool thing. So I've been talking with Ryne about bringing Hatchet into play, and I'm really looking forward to that. Whereas before, a little bit not okay. Hatchet's my son. He's 8. And so we're talking about having a kids thing, but I'm really excited for something like that because this world, it's a new world and it's so different. It's very exciting for me to be a part of.
It's small, but it's like enormous in your own mindset. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And before I jump off, I got one more question I want to ask on air. Is that all right, Brad? Or do you want to
Absolutely.
Ask away.
Okay, I got one more. So Chad, I kind of asked you this when we were on the field, and then I got in, Ronnie and I started talking, and Ryne came in, and we were talking about things on the field. But something I'm curious about as a young player is you are at or near the very top of the paintball world, of the professional world. I don't know a lot about it. I'm starting to catch up. I watched my first event. That was really cool. The two of you play on one of the best teams. You don't need the money, I'm sure. So what, outside of changing culture a little bit, what's the motivation? What's the real, so we've got the surface, right? The surface is I'm going to come and I'm going to teach some guys, I'm going to make X amount of dollars, whatever it happens to be. Yeah. I'm sure you don't really need the money, and 52 weeks in a year. So you're giving up one Saturday minimum, actually 2 at this point for me.
So I'll say it's 3 things. Okay, so you have MLB, NBA, NHL, NFL. Those guys have millions of dollars to get their asses beat, right? This sport isn't big enough to get your ass beat. It is, but it does physically take it out of you, but you're not getting millions of dollars for it. So we don't do it for the money. My loyalty to who the owner of my team is, I was always taught, you stay loyal, you will succeed. That's one thing. I could never quit on him. So I could never be like, hey, unless he tells me someday, hey, I think you should wrap it up, and I could acknowledge that, then I can't quit then. I'll go until my legs don't work anymore. I will also say the fact that I just love it. Like, I have literally given everything. I've lost girlfriends. I have pissed my pants on the field because I just wanted to keep playing in a rec ball game. I've been in fights where I just loved it because I'm not afraid of anything because of what the sport has brought me. I absolutely just love winning in this sport more than anything I could ever acknowledge, because it's just such a great feeling. And I just love shooting people. I love it.
So Craig, to build off your question, are you saying what's the motivation to do the clinics and help you guys out? Or are you saying to play the sport at the top level?
To play the clinics, and Chad kind of, maybe I didn't do a very good job of phrasing it, but the clinics do not pay the bills.
Sure.
The clinics do not, there's just so little on my side, right? So
are you asking what my motivation is to do the clinics?
Yeah, because when I look at it,
I love literally, like, when I watched you acknowledge what was in your file cabinet and then go and then progress from going here, going to the corner, wrapping, going to the corner, going down snake. That right there excites me more than anything. That's why I get so excited when you guys go and pull points out, or even with Josh or Squisher. It's literally to watch you guys do that. And then even when Ryne tells me he wiped a hit, but I just watch him pull out a game 2-on-5 with him and Squish, I watched him do it. And I was so proud because the fact that the things that we put in his file cabinet and he acknowledges, that makes me truly happy. I love watching my team succeed, and I love guys coming up. I love what Ronnie's doing, everything else. But when we tell you guys things and you guys take it in, it is such like it's a rush. It's another level. Like I cannot wait to be a coach someday in this sport because it's another level of just like it's a happiness that you if you're not ready for it, then it's fine. But if you can, like what Brad has with Blast Camp, that team's gonna win a semi-pro event and they're gonna work themselves into pro. And he's going to feel the acknowledgement, and he's going to – it doesn't matter if anybody doesn't say his name. He knows that he put it there, and that's all that matters to him, and it's an amazing feeling. Like to take in from the people that you've taken in from, Chris Lasoya, Jeremy Salm, Mike Hinman, things like that. Like even Nick Matthews. Nick Matthews was the biggest start of my career. To take that and to bring it all in, that's what – like that completes me right there.
100%. I'll keep it short. The biggest thing is being able to pass on the knowledge and being able to see those aha epiphany moments that I see you see, Craig, and Brad understands, and Ryne. And I never had that growing up. I did have that, but it wasn't a direct. It
wasn't until you got Jason.
Right. It wasn't a direct injection of like that knowledge of like the filing cabinet. It was more or less like Yaya took me under his wing. Nick Sloviak took me under his wing. John Woodley took me under their wings. And I just learned by modeling. I would watch them and I would do the same. And then when I would make a mistake, I would fix it by learning from their mistakes. So I'd watch them make a mistake and then I'd make that same mistake and I figured out how they fixed it. But until I grew older and got the guidance of like a structure, I want to give that back to everyone I can who loves this sport as me, because this sport has taken me to places that I never thought I would. And it's taken me to places that many people won't ever see in their lifetime. So I'm grateful for the sport of paintball and I want to give back to the sport of paintball, period.
Cool. Honestly though, like when Ron went to Australia on his own, he went to Australia, won a pro event. Nobody looked at their team like they were going to win, but Ron went and put it in his own hands because that's what he did as a pro player. Like, hey, they brought me here. I got to win. And that's the kind of mentality that you got to have. But that's something that you don't know that until like Oliver Lang, he had it before anybody else, but he was also given to him from Shane Pastana. Like, and most people don't even know who Shane Pastana even is. Like that guy is another one on the list.
Yeah, Craig's like, I have no idea who you're talking about right now.
It's great. It's all dudes that I know, but you're giving them the props. And I'm talking to a lot of these guys. I had Rodney Schreier on. Yeah. You know, I want to bring them back because you guys are respecting them, and that's what I'm telling them. You know, they have to. Honestly,
though, like there's a lot of people that don't understand like who was truly great because they weren't advertised. Rocky Cagnoni was advertised well, but he wasn't the best player on his team.
Right.
He wasn't the guy that he went to snake out the break every time and he got acknowledgement for it. People don't realize how good Chad George really is.
Yep.
Because he's so like he does so many things. He's so clutch in so many moments. Like it's just like Ryan Moorhead, same thing. He never even played divisional paintball. He went straight to pro, like right then and there. It's crazy to think about, but he did it. Like that was one of the smartest dudes I ever met in paintball.
He had great teachers around him that allowed him to do that as well. It's a perfect storm.
Adam Gardner saw something in him, and then Jason Chosen pushed him to be harder and harder and harder, and they went from there.
Yep.
So,
it's actually kind of interesting because the people you're talking about, who I've never met, I don't know anything about them.
Oh yeah.
And from what you guys are saying, they were not particularly nice people. But it's really interesting. What you're talking about is a transfer of knowledge, right? You know, like I always talk about what you guys are putting it directly to us.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about this, Ronnie and I, a little bit. Just this over and over and over. You guys had to do these spins just over and over and over and over and over to learn all this stuff. And so it's almost cheating. I'm getting the cheat code.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I like that you say that because the coaches that I talk to on a daily basis, like I talk to Tom Martinez, I talk to Ryan Brand. I talk to Jason Chosen almost every single. If I don't talk to Jason every single day, then it's like it's weird to me because the fact that like that guy is always teaching me something. So exactly what you're saying. Like I feel like I have the cheat code, and then when I say things and people don't listen to me, I'm like, bitch, I know what the fuck is going on here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's almost like I'm cheating Shane
Pastana.
It's almost like I'm cheating him right now. I feel like I'm stealing from him.
I mean,
finish up. I can see you've been at it for an hour and 53 minutes, and I'm dragging this out. But
no, I mean, I think what you have to say is great. I think like, anything anybody has to say in here is great because most people don't have this thing to come to. Anybody that's
right here, right here, Edward, right here in the chat. I wish the workout paintball community was close like this. We don't have clinic opportunities. I always got to fly out. The fact that we're able to bring that together in the Midwest is right here.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what I love. That's what I love because there are areas that breed their players, like in Texas, and they're thriving. And I want this area to be like that. Here we go. I never had a chance to do a clinic. I always had to learn from pro firsthand or get beat down, and that's how I learned, and that's how Yaya learned. And this is
Nick Van Germet should have been pro. If he wouldn't have had real life coming, that guy had a pro mentality. But what I'm also saying is shout out to Texas because between X Factor, Alex Martinez gave an opportunity. So I'll even say Rennick Miller at the same time, Jeremy Sohm.
Yeah.
When you have a pro team in your area, and this is why we expanded to 20 pro teams with the NXL. People don't realize this. Like, oh, why would you make Scottsdale Elevation pro? They're going to lose every match, blah, blah, blah. No. What it does is it gives hope. It gives hope to play pro. Every kid who's playing the sport, and Craig, you're doing a great job of it because you're trying to become the best at what you do because you're a successful person and you want to be successful at something. You go to the limit to be successful at it. Hey, if I'm pro because I went and I pushed myself at 40 laws of power. You don't outshine your master and you work your ass off. You put 10,000 hours in, you're going to make it happen. But what I'm also saying is when there's a team in Chicago or there's a team in San Diego and there's a team in Scottsdale, or there's a team in Florida with Jason Edwards and Tampa Bay Damage, or there's a team in New York with Harris or PK. You want to play for that team because, or even when Philly was around, like I remember when I work out, hey, you want to play for Philly? You want to get paid? You want to play for Philly? This is what you want to do. You have to have that desire, but when you do and you have that desire, it's going to make you work harder in the sport and want to be and grow. When Avalanche was around and they had the Proteus mask and they were with JT, everybody wanted to be Avalanche. Everybody wanted to be Jeremy Sohm, Chris Sawyer, Rocky Agnoni. When you said earlier, Ryne, I was like, yep, because Avalanche 101, Rocky Agnoni was a guy that I wanted to wear elbow pads for, and I want to have a doo-doo brown Dark Angel. Ed Portman.
Did you ever get that doo-doo brown Dark Angel?
No, because I'm not a fucking doo-doo brown type of guy. I'm a leopard guy.
That's right. Shout out to CB2.
It actually kind of surprised me to hear Craig say Jeremy Shams as his guy when he's also saying, well, I can't imagine that the old days, because Jeremy Shams absolutely was embodied in what paintball used to be. I mean,
if you look at paintball on Wikipedia, I'm pretty sure Jeremy Shams is like the first guy on the list.
Yeah,
well, but understanding who someone is individually, like I can understand what Jeremy is, and I'm not trying to badmouth him, but you know, I understand who and what Jeremy is. I just didn't realize that it perpetuated everyone, right? Like I like conceptually, that'd be if you were to stack up 30 Jeremy Shams or however many guys there was in paintball pro at the time, 50 or 100 or whatever, man, that'd be a when you guys start talking about it to me, like conceptually, I can understand the volatility.
I'll say this. Nobody has ever made more people go pro other than Jeremy Sohm. He has brought so many kids and given them the opportunity to go pro. That guy right there. And it sucks when he is ripping you apart on the field and it's embarrassing or if you don't understand something, but he's doing it out of love because that's how his delivery is. That's how he was taught in the sport, and that's how he does it. And it sucks because me and Ron, we're not going to rip you up. We're going to tell you, and we're going to hope you acknowledge it. And if not, then it is what it is. But Jeremy Sohm has had so many kids. I bet he has over 50 kids in his program or under his wing that he's made go pro. Nick Slobiak. Nick was picking up paint out of the garbage, and Sohm saw it and was like, hey, what are you doing? Like, why the fuck? Jeremy never paid for a paintball like that. Like, he didn't get brought up like that. He grew up in Washington, and it didn't work like that there. He had John Richardson, who a lot of people don't realize is one of the greatest paintball players who sits at a table that nobody sits at. Yep. And he had him in his right arm. Like, it is what it is.
But when Jeremy Stone, when you step off the field too, he was all about how you doing, how's the family, when
Yeah,
you
he
were
knows how to turn it on and turn it off.
Yep, it was a very different person than off the field. And Jeremy,
I'll tell you this, I played golf with Jeremy.
What's that?
I played golf with Jeremy, and I know nothing about golf, and I was a shit player. But the way that Jeremy taught me, I'm not kidding you, he coddled me.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I was getting I didn't know who he was.
Yeah,
because the guy that taught me how to play paintball was a completely different person.
What's going on?
Jeremy saw him.
I think at the end of the day, sometimes forget, especially back then, is when you wanted to call the game war, or when it was less referred to as paintball, and you get more into the old days. Is ultimately it's a paintball that it brings out adrenaline. You're shooting projectiles almost at the speed of penetrating the skin. The reason why we cut off at 300 feet per second is because they have determined that a projectile moving over 300 feet per second can penetrate the human body. Like, that's why 300 and below, that's the number that's chosen, really. And I think a lot of people, like, this is back during the metal militia and the old, like, if you weren't a skater or you weren't a BMXer or you just weren't a dirt biker, but you had that kind of attitude, the skater attitude, or the fuck you, the fuck the police, whatever, the punk rock, all American rejects in the 90s, like, paintball's where you went. I wasn't coordinated enough for a skateboard, but I'm good enough on a trigger to hold a lane. Like, and I have that FU attitude too. And I mean, you go back to, like, what was it? Is it Bunker Fest number 2 or number 3 that I worked as a kid when I worked at Crossfire Paintball? Like, and after the event, like, there's this huge punk rock tournament going on, stripper poles coming out, cakes getting floated. Like, it was beyond paintball. It was a lifestyle almost for some of these guys. And the events are nothing like what they used to be.
Yeah. Well, and that's the most important thing.
My dog's barking.
Is again, you've touched on some very important things, and a lot of those layers where it's student and teacher, and the teacher needs to find enjoyment in bringing up others, in passing on the knowledge that they have to the people who they feel are worth it and will appreciate it. And when you see that person grow, it's much like a father or a parent, where you can see that person flourish. So that's really a good point. And with that, Craig, I will say good evening to you, sir, and please come back again.
Indeed, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Ryne, we're going to discuss right now, with how everything's going. We do not have any solid dates of anything, but any clinics. How do people find you to find out where these clinics are going to be held? So
the two best ways are, obviously, in this video, how my name's spelled, Ryne Broshears. Search that on Facebook or Instagram and you'll find me. And if you direct message me there, I will typically, as long as I remember, message you about a week before we do the clinics, because most of the clinics we do, we only put about a week worth of planning into them. And I don't mean to make it sound like we don't put a lot of work into them. It's just with Dizon's schedule and Chad's schedule, once you get live into the season, you only basically got like the weekend after the event and then they're off to the races again. It's a tight fit. We're lucky going into this. Well, from a clinic standpoint, I'm lucky going into this year that there is no real pro NXL Europe for them because of the new rules. So with the season, we're hopefully going to be able to do a few more clinics. But it's all announced about 2 weeks ahead of time at best, and Facebook or Instagram, or even if you message Ronnie or Yaya, they'll send you my way. Because all I basically do is I talk to Yaya, talk to Ronnie, figure out what it is we want to do. Okay, this is a communication clinic. Got it. We want to cap it at 20 people, so each pro gets 10 people. Got it. We want to make it cost this amount of money, so we cover your cost to get here. Your pay to teach the clinic and buy you some lunch. Got it. And then I collect all the money via Venmo, PayPal, whatever, and then I send it to them. And I don't keep any of it. And the pros see how much money I get brought into my accounts because I take screenshots and I send it to them, and they know it's all done how it is. Because the money should definitely go where it belongs, and that's to the knowledge. And I think because of how we run this, we help keep it so cheap because I'm not a third party making a profit. So you don't have me padding on to the cost of the clinic because my operating cost is zero. But what I do is I get us free time by going to like blast camp and talking to Virgil. He works well with us, and Jeff from O'Hare does too. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to bring in 20 guys on Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Give me private fill time, but I'll guarantee you 20 entries and 20 cases of paint sold on Saturday morning.
Yep.
It's guaranteed. Because the clinic, you have to pay whatever the entry is. Let's say it's $50 to get into the clinic. That gets both pros there. Let's just throw a number out there. Don't quote me on that because it changes.
Right. It's different for every venue.
Yeah. The amount of people that show up affect the cost because the more people we have, the cheaper it is per person. But also the more people we have, the less individual attention you'll get. So we'll do more expensive 10-person clinics, but you're going to get more one-on-one time. But we'll never do a clinic over 30 people because 15 people per pro is about the limit that Ronnie and Yaya kind of set. They're like, look, that's where we're maxed out.
Right. It gets to the point where you're diverting too much attention to too many people, and then people don't get the full treatment or the full, experience. Exactly. They're getting, you have 100 people, you get 100th of my attention, so that's basically how it's done.
But I'd say the biggest key to these clinics is what Craig almost started to say was at his first clinic when he was just running, he was like, man, I don't know that this was worth the money, even though it's not a lot of money. But as he was going, he realized, hey, we need this first clinic to assess where you're at and what you need. And then the second clinic will start building. The third clinic will add some mortar. The fourth clinic, you got a foundation. The fifth clinic, your house is there. Sixth clinic, you got power, electrical, plumbing. And by the eighth clinic, you're at a fucking mansion. You got your file cabinets overflowing. And every clinic's different. Every clinic offers something new. It's communication. It's 3-on-3 drills, 2-on-2 drills, containment drills. One of the biggest things that they stress in the clinics that, this is your free penny's worth of advice to anybody listening is first thing you do next time you go play paintball, off the break, you come up to your bunker. If you're right-handed, don't shoot up the right side of your bunker. Shoot up the left side of your bunker. Because I promise, if you pay attention to it, when you come up to your bunker, you always shoot common head side first. A good enough player on the other side will watch that, figure it out. You're laying off the break every time. That simple little bit of knowledge that those two can put into our heads and break it down for you like that, you're like, sure enough, I always am coming up right-handed. And sure enough, if that home guy
things you don't think about.
So this is that knowledge, when people are, because, I'm fortunate enough, I get to play around a lot of semi-pro players. I play around a lot of pro players, and I've noticed the upper level guys kind of feel like, maybe they don't need the clinics, but I invite Division I guys to come try these clinics, and you'll learn something too. Like you're never too far.
You're not wrong, Ryne, because Ryne, there's about 4 dudes in this entire world of paintball that don't need a clinic because they're the one teaching it, but we all can learn every single time. We have to be open like that. That's the biggest thing. Yep. We have to. Coaches are learning. Yep. Like players are learning. You're not wrong. Like you're learning something, then you're gonna grow in the sport. That's how it works. People who are watching it are growing. Yep.
One of the best kept secrets over the winter for the clinics that I'll expose now to people, and we'll see how it works next winter, is that I think everybody would agree in the wintertime going to O'Hare paintball trying to run points on Sunday, it's hard. Like you'll go there for 4 hours and get to run 4 points because you got every team in the Midwest shoved into that one building.
Yeah.
But from Saturday, when you come to one of our clinics from 8 a.m. to noon, man, you're going to grind so hard you don't even need to show up Sunday. You have a private field. And it's the same thing Saturday at Blast Camp. If anything else, what you'll learn in these clinics, if you don't feel you're going to get knowledge, you're going to get field time. And with that field time, you're going to constantly work.
Everyone's going to come if you keep saying stuff like that. You keep it a secret, bro.
Yeah.
I know.
Top secret.
No, don't come.
I'm hoping with all this COVID dying, we can do one a week. We got a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Everybody needs to take vacation.
I'll tell you this, Ryne. Here, I'll say this. Jason Califf, who's was tallied to me, Him and I would drive on a Friday, play one-on-ones, sleep on the ground at the field in Chicago. Wake up Saturday morning, play until it was like open play was like there. We waited, we went to lunch, we hung out, did whatever, played until 2:00 in the morning, slept till Sunday at the field on the ground. Like literally, like Danny Benitez, John Rathburn, like they would let us sleep at the field because we couldn't afford a hotel just to practice at the field. Like if you don't have that mentality to like want to learn or to play more, then yeah, it's not going to work. But if you do, like you said,
definitely,
that's the kind of like I'm a walking billboard to what it takes, and I'm not even the best. Like I know who the best are, and I've played with them, I've hung out with them, I've partied with them. It's just literally pushing yourself above and beyond to go and do what you're doing with your program and to acknowledge people to come in and do things in the Midwest. It's another level. Nick Matthews let me sleep at his 1-bedroom apartment as much as I wanted to because he wanted to see me grow in the sport.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll allow almost any of my players. If my wife actually has a rule for me, because we do have some people that do stay at my place. I have to meet you once before you're allowed to stay in the house because I have kids. So if I meet you once, after that, I'm allowed to offer you the basement futon, which, man, it's that attitude. Look, I want everybody to come to the clinics, but if I'm going to be honest, 100% honest, unless you have that attitude, I would rather you let someone with that attitude take that clinic spot. I don't want you to come to these clinics if you're just trying to come spend a day with Yaya and Dizon, because that is awesome. I mean, you guys are two of my very good friends, and I've built an amazing friendship with you guys over such a short period of time. But progress is the goal, growing the sport, growing the skills. And it's, kind of, I'm looking to get that 30 guys with that grind to see, let's make whatever the opposite of paintball fit can be. I don't want to call it paintball fat, but let's get Midwest paintball fit attitude where you have 6 teams that everybody knows from Shut Up They're Trying to AC Diesel, AC Dallas, paintball fit. Like I can name more teams from that one field than I can out of any other field in the world. And I think any other person can probably say the same thing. And I think the only thing that gives them that is their collective desire to grind. And that's all I want. I want everybody in the Midwest that wants to grind. You don't have to play for me. You don't have to play for free parking. But I want you to show up, grind, and get better in the Midwest together. Because whatever your team name is if your team's doing great and it's from the Midwest, it's more attention for us. It's more players here. It's more fields.
This is what I was going to say earlier, Ryne. And I'm glad you actually brought that up because the person that I didn't acknowledge and I should have acknowledged, who is a good friend of mine and has done a lot for paintball and has brought people up other than Mike and Jeremy, and they have all been the same program, is Greg Pauly. And I remember that I was telling Demetrius Ninos this before he was even pro. Listen to this guy. This guy will make sure you succeed in this sport. Greg Pauly was a coach for Mike Hinman with San Diego Aftermath when they were going on a run with Alex Goldman and Rainey Stanzak, and they had Whisper and they had Scott Kemp, and Scott only played him for a couple of years because he was coming off an injury from excessive. But these guys, like these 3 coaches, like they've been in the programs, they all have the same mentality. They're tough. Like I played for Greg Pauly in 2007 for Vicious, and he's tough, but he only does it out of tough love. And Hinman's tough. I've never played for Hinman, but he's tough. Jeremy Somm is tough, but when you see the same things they see, because they're above and beyond Jason Chosen, he doesn't yell at you, but he makes you realize, hey, why didn't you do this? What's stopping you? Why? He doesn't make you feel stupid, but at the same time, you feel stupid because you're like, why didn't I see that? If I'm so good at this, why didn't I see that?
Right.
Jason Chosen is the best person that's ever taught me this game. Mike Hinman has brought up the most successful pros. Jeremy Somm has brought the most pros to the game, and Greg Pauly is on his way of doing all of that, except for the fact that his own team doesn't even understand. When I said to you earlier, Brad, Greg Pauly, if you believe in his system and everybody lives in the same bubble, and they listen to their coach, yeah, you don't think that this guy can do this or not. If he sees it however he sees it and everybody believes in the same system, that's how you succeed. It all works out.
Right.
I mean, and this might be a big thing for me to say, but ultimately, my goal, look, I'm 31 years old. I have bones that don't belong to me. I'm medically retired from the military. I've got torn ligaments.
I'm 33.
I'm 31.
Soon.
But I'm 340 pounds. I don't see me playing professional paintball. Would it be a dream? Hold on. Would it be a dream to be rostered and play professional paintball at one point just to say did it? Fuck yeah. I'm going to play paintball until I can't play no more.
Respect
What
that.
I can do,
let's do it.
What I can do is I can be the next Greg Pauly. I can be the next Hillman. I can take the next kids, and I can even, let's say I'm going to live vicariously through them, but I'm going to do this alone enough off of passion and relationships built with you guys and everybody else who I'm slowly connecting to and building with. To where here in the Midwest, let's get our own Edmonton Impact. You know, we had Shock, but they're not here anymore. Not in that sense. I mean, I believe they still do Tin Man and stuff, but like Aftershock doesn't exist anymore. But why not build a program with a new attitude instead of the programs with the old attitude that we've lost and grow it? And I mean, ultimately, my goal is to have a program and to have kids like Squish that I've gotten to see, and DK and Mikey, like some of the guys that I get to play with on the field right now. I love playing every Saturday and Sunday with them. But ultimately, my goal for them is to go past me and find themselves a team with guys in their age that I can build and run with them in my program with your guys.
And that's you being optimistic to a great thing because you want to see paintball grow. You truly love the sport to do it. So I admire that and I appreciate that. And I agree with it. Like those guys all saw something. They might not even have saw it at the time, but they saw something in people and how they were how they were wired. Like Greg Pauly has brought so many pros up. Jeremy Solomons brought so many kids up in the Midwest. And if that's what we're gonna do, that was why Aftershock did not succeed. Mike Bruno had that vision. He saw that he wanted like the Midwest to still, he always wanted to represent it. No matter what, we ride or die, but we win. No matter what, we win. And that's what he always saw because that's what he did. No matter what, he's a 19-year-old kid, didn't matter. He always won, and that's why they're so successful. But if it's hard because it's a luxury sport. If it's financially not there or somebody's not giving you the same support to win or to hold you back or to give you all the practice paint you need in the world or all the time on the field or everything as far as support goes, as a staff goes, like with the Ironman, they have Nikki and Fran that nobody even know about who put so much into the Ironman to make sure that they are successful. And they've had so many times that they're not successful. And this one time they did it, and that's what brought tears to their eyes. Like it's things like that that truly become like iconic in paintball.
I'm happy to see the people around me be successful. As long as I can take part of that, and I'm successful.
Hell yeah.
I'm only as successful as the people around me.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's just what it comes down to.
Ryan Brand does a great job in Texas with X Factor. He has to manage a lot of dudes who are talented.
I remember watching him as a ref at the field when I worked there. It wasn't when I worked there for a guy named Paul Lopez. Ryan Brand was still playing, and it was in that teeter moment when he was going from being a player to being a coach for them. Because at the time, Alex Rodriguez had a lot of life events going on. And I mean, half of my motivation for everything I'm doing is based off of the things that I never took a part of, but I got to observe. And I got to observe just by being that guy working for paint to play for free. But now I'm at a point in life where I don't have to wake up and go to work. My bills are paid, and I can put my time in something that I just have passion for.
I like it because you enjoy the success of others, and that's called being a great person. And actually, somebody who I also acknowledge also is Mark Cresson. He loves seeing people go on top. Like he loves it. That's why I feel that HK has gone above and beyond because they love seeing people succeed.
We just took free parking to HK right when this COVID stuff happened.
Should have done it sooner. We should have done it sooner.
What HK has done for free parking, I mean, I can literally do for my team what big fields can do for their teams without having a big field now.
Yeah.
I mean, I can. I mean, I can't everybody knows the private deals behind the back doors have to stay behind the back doors. But just what HK has done for my program, working with you guys and moving forward, and the growth and the assistance from, I have 200 cases of paint sitting beside me. I mean, all the way down there, we got a bunch of paint, all that paint. I mean, ready to go. I mean, just, and my guys can now go to the field and grind like Houston Heat, or grind like Blast Camp Revolution, or grind like any of these teams that have this big backing, because we figured out a way to do it as a group to where I don't know, we're just lucky. We talked to the right people, we made the right friends, and I talk a lot and I don't take no for an answer. And if you tell me no, I'm gonna find a way to rephrase the question until you tell me yes. And if you're still gonna tell me no, then I'm gonna find someone else to tell me yes.
I'll say this,
it's
though.
just where we are.
We are very, very blessed on the fact of Ronnie and I, we're from the Midwest, and we get the struggles of everything else through the winter. We get the struggles of the money with the teams and everything else. Randy Smith, his wife, Dana, they put us on a platform, and it's not that they're trying to make money, but they give us a platform to succeed. And that is hard to come by. We couldn't be more appreciative of it. I feel like we are one of like few players that take advantage of that, and truly feel blessed by it, because without them, we couldn't be more successful because of the things that they do for us. They make us feel so comfortable, and so like they just give us the desire to want to win for them. And that's what you have to have in your program.
100%.
Like
that, and we, for sure.
When we win, it's such a powerful feeling to hand the trophy to the owner, or to have him speak at the dinner that we win at, or to see his mom, who attends every single event. Shout out Nana. And just the acknowledgement that they feel the happiness of, because they know that we've completed a goal in our lives, but they're just so positive and so helpful that it doesn't get any better than that. That's why we truly are. When I tell people we're the Yankees of paintball or anything else, because we have that feeling that they give us. It's not that we have the most money or anything else and we do this and that. We just are so thankful to the fact that like we have, this is a career and it's a great thing. We love it. And I want everybody who wants to be that person or to do that to have that feeling. I wanted to play on Philly before I played on Houston Heat, because they were the guys that set the example, or the Ironmen who paid their guys to make it a career. It's a great feeling. It's not the money. It's the desire to be able to do this sport. And it's a great thing. X Factor. They do great things. Archie, Ryan Brand, Colt, like those guys, Rainey Stanzak, those guys all give you that hopefulness. And with Houston Heat, Ronnie and I feel like we are so lucky to have that feeling.
Oh, for me as a kid, like as the dream as a kid, you know, when I would be in class reading my Action Pursuit Games magazine, would be to go play for Iron Man while pressing barrels in the dye factory for my side gig, and like just get to play paintball all day. Like that was the dream growing up, was 100%. Basically be Todd Martinez.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I don't want to hold you guys up much longer.
Nope. It's one of those things that I'm glad that you have the contact info out there. We've put it in the comment section so people will be able to contact you. I want to thank you for coming out, and we can do this again for sure. Because I mean, we're paintball players. We can sit and talk for hours and hours and hours. What I just want to, I appreciate what you're doing. I want to be a part of it. If there's anything that I can do to help you out, and you already know this because we've already had this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, because at the same thing with you, like just with Blast Camp and everything else. I mean, with paintball, it's all about helping each other. And that's why I think my program is becoming as large as it is and as successful as it is for its level, because we're barely a year old. It's just because we have so many great people like you, Brad, or Chad, or Ronnie, or Virgil, or Jeff, or all these guys who I might annoy the living piss out of them talking and asking questions, but at the end of the day, they don't tell me no. They say yes. Everybody makes a little bit of money on as far as the business side. We make sure the fields sell paint, get entries. but guys are learning to play. They're coming back harder. And even like Craig said, now he wants to bring another generation in. His 8-year-old son has it. He wants to bring him to the clinics. Like, that's how you grow.
And however you're wired or whatever it may be, but like Craig said, he wants to learn things so he can teach his son. I can't wait to have 5 boys. My fiance, soon to be wife, is not going to be happy about me having 5 boys. I get it. I'm probably going to have girls, but at the same time, they're going to play paintball and they're going to have the knowledge.
I'm going to tell you right now, I have 2 girls, 9 years old and 2.
Oh, I deserve girls. So I get
it. It's 50-50 odds on that boy and that girl. But when you're you're thinking about going for 3, 50-50 is a really big shot. And you're like, oh,
I'm going to shout out Mike Paxson because that's another person who has brought players together. And I'm also going to shout out Travis Amansky because he's got 4 girls. So I get it. I deserve 4 girls. Okay. I get it.
I love my girls, but I wasn't ready for an early summer. That's all I'm saying.
Well, Ryan, I'm gonna jump off here because I got to stream.
Thank you, Yaya. Thank you very much.
Hey, Brad. Thank you for what you're doing. I appreciate everything. I love this. I'm gonna make sure I tune in more.
We'll do it again.
More.
We'll do it again for sure. Thank you, sir.
Bye, Yaya.
Thank you. All right. And thank you, Ryne.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Brad.
I'll let Brad and
thanks, Squish.
Ronnie,
shout out, Mike.
Shout
out, Craig. Shout out, Eli.
Hey, Chad. Let's play Monopoly. What are you about to play? Warzone?
I can't play Warzone.
Call of Duty Mobile in 20. I'll see you there.
Call of Duty Mobile in 20.
Ronnie, who got you started on Call of Duty?
This one guy, he's in the chat right now. He's right here, right above me.
I'm going to play PUBG. I love you guys.
Thank you. I'll talk to you.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
Thank you. So, Ronnie.
And then there were 2.
Hey, and that's great. Again, I want to give you a chance to share the what we were talking about before. So it's all you right now. So take it, Ronnie.
So the big thing, I'm going to put the link in the chat, and obviously everyone knows with everything going on right now with COVID, how us as paintball players can interact and be a part of the movement of being able to give back to the world, And right now I'm going to try to share my screen.
I think I got the paintballcares.com. Is that?
Yep. So let me see if I could get my screen share on. Okay, I'm going to share this right now. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. So see if you can pull my screen. Yep. So the biggest thing is this is the biggest paintball event in history. And by that, we mean from April 20th to the 25th, if you are in the US or Canada. The Paintball Cares Blood Drive is something that we worked with American Red Cross and American Blood Centers across the entire world, our entire US and Canada, to be a part of this ability to help and use ourselves as paintballers to band together to donate blood, because right now, and as you can see here, the COVID-19 pandemic has caused blood bank donations to suffer. In response to the call from blood banks throughout the U.S. and Canada, the entirety of paintball, from professional players to recreational woods ballers, have united to help. So you can see, and if you go to this site, paintball-cares.com, you'll see where and when and how you can get involved and be a part of this movement. What we're doing is we're giving back and banding together as paintball, hashtag paintball strong. So to show that we're here and we're supporting to be able to give back to the world. And, if you guys can get April 20th to the 25th, try to get to a blood bank, and everything from the information you need, from what's it all about to is it safe to donate during this pandemic. There's all the information right here on paintball-cares.com. And I want to say a huge shout out, and I'm going to try to get down to it. So here's all the influencers that are involved. You have Greg Hastings, Ryan Greenspan, myself, Nick Sloviak, Wolf, all these influencers. And then we're going to go all the way to the organizer, which is Lars, aka Danger Man, on YouTube. He's a huge paintball ambassador. He cares about the sport. He cares about the world. And what he's doing is amazing and huge. And he actually contacted me to help represent this and shout this out so we can get the word out there for everybody. So paintball-cares.com, please, if you can, get to a place to donate blood. Our goal is 100,000 pints of blood. And with the blood bank suffering, I think we can come together. There's a huge thing that we can address as a whole.
Right. As an industry, we can get behind this and show our strength in numbers for sure.
100%.
Yep. And now Troy is one of the last stragglers on here to give a shout out to you.
Troy here from Solid Ross Paintball, Breakout Paintball. Hey, shout out to Troy. Thank you for the support and thank you for being a Midwest paintballer.
Yep, absolutely. And now just to bring it all and wrap it all again, Ronnie, I thank you for your time. I value every moment of it. We've covered a lot today. And we can still have a lot more to discuss. And that's the great thing about paintball. And you know, it's that whole build up each other mentality, which, you know, together everybody does achieve more. And that's, you know, one of those things that I truly believe in. And so I thank you for your time. It means a lot to me. I need you involved. The Midwest needs to build and grow. And the more that I enmesh myself and align myself with you guys, then we can all work together to do what we need to do to move those mountains and represent the Midwest like we all want to do.
100%.
So
yeah,
I appreciate your time, Ronnie. And if there's anything else that you need to add, now's your time.
No, just a big shout out to Paintball. Thank you to everyone who's watching.
Perfect.
Thank you to everybody who's tuned into the Paintball Therapy podcast.
Yep.
And, make sure you guys tune in for the next one, whenever that is. Brett will probably fill you in on the Facebook page, so make sure you guys like the Facebook page and keep in touch. And you'll probably see more of me on here, and you'll see a bunch of Brett on here because this is his thing. And
absolutely. Well, thank you, Ronnie. I appreciate you, and I will be in touch very soon with you. And
real quick, tomorrow, actually, and I'm not straying away from the Paintball Therapy podcast. I'm here to support.
Please tomorrow, plug anything.
I'm actually going to be live on Go Sports talking about Houston Heat's performance in Vegas with Matty Marshall. So live.
Oh, fantastic!
That'll be tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Time for you Midwesterns. So 3 p.m. Eastern. So
tune in.
Tune in there, and
Yep.
So, peace out, guys.
Congratulations! Thank you very much, Ronnie. Have a great one.
Okay.
Thank you. Wow. That was just a little bit over 2.5 hours. I mean, I'm at a loss with how great that was. You know, we need to understand that we can't do it alone. Not everybody has the ultimate answer. We need to work together. We need to do things as in industry, as teams, as a format, because airball isn't the only paintball. It's what these players tonight have a certain affinity for. But whether it's mag-fed, scenario, anything, woods ball, just get out and play, please, and bring people into the sport. Show them how wonderful it can be, because it's a great thing that gives a lot to a lot of people. And we just need to keep it going, especially through this time. So with that, I will say thank you to all of the guests that were on tonight. Thank you for everybody who has watched this, and I appreciate your time. So thank you very much, and have a wonderful evening.